Ortiz fights it off center field. Damon running to the plate, and he can keep on running to New York. Back to full. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
I can't circle. I don't have my telestrator today, but here comes a pizza. See it?
This is our fucking city, and nobody gonna dictate our freedom. Stay strong.
Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. Jake's here, Tyler's here, Pete's here, and Coley, as promised, is here. It is the post Xander Bogaerts going to the Padres episode. I am still, for some reason, all right, I'm just going to lay this out, and then I might not say another word for the rest of the podcast. Let me just lay all this out, right? For a majority of the offseason, if not the entire offseason, I had mentally accepted that Xander Bogaerts was gone. I had already accepted it. People were asking me, is he going to come back? I was like, 60-40. I'm just trying to give you some hope. I thought the odds were much worse than that. And, where's he going? Oh, I think he's going to the Cubs. Thought he was going to the Cubs the whole time. That was a team that I would have bet money on if sports betting was legal in Massachusetts. It's not. It will be soon, though. And then yesterday happened, depending on what day you're listening to this. Today's Thursday, so Wednesday. Wednesday happens. And me, actually, it's going to be funny to say in front of Pete. I established a text thread. It's more of a compliment to Pete, I guess, because it's like Pete's a hockey guy. I established a text thread with Tyler, Coley, and Jake.
Sick, dude. Pretty sick.
We already knew you had to go, Pete.
Yeah, just wait. And it's called Jerry's Scoop Shop. So anytime that I would get information, I don't need to, I would text Jake, or I'd text Coley, or I'd text Tyler, and I'd forget Coley sometimes, or I forget Tyler sometimes. I was like, all right, any shit that comes my way, I'll just put it in here. You guys can just read and absorb as much as you'd like. So I feel like you guys, except for Pete, Pete, do you want to be in the Scoop Shop? I feel like you don't.
No,
I feel like you don't care.
Don't. No, I don't. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, see?
The introductory text Saturday at 2:30. This is where I'm dumping all my scoops, since Pat and Pete probably don't care. That was the opening text.
So I don't care. You're right. I would have liked to be included, and then I could have muted the conversation and never revisited the group chat ever again. It would have just been nice to be included. That's all I'll say.
Well, I know you well enough to know that you wouldn't care. So I preemptively removed you. You were in it mentally, and then I removed you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So Jerry's Scoop Shop opened up this past week, and I'm just throwing any messages, text, whatever that may have some information. I'm like, all right, here's what I'm hearing. So I feel like these guys were along the roller coaster with me. They're seeing from all angles, what's going on this very day. So yes or no, Tyler, if you were me, because I'm going to go through my Twitter timeline as well, because some pieces of shit out there were trying to say that I leaked that Xander was coming back, and then it blew up in my face. That is not what happened at all. All I said was, first of all, I tweeted a video of me and Xander. That's it. Just positive vibes. Then Sean McAdam, this is at 2:39, tweeted, one Red Sox person asked by someone today whether the Sox would re-sign Bogarts, answered without hesitation, yes. And then I tweeted the video of him hitting a home run off Garrett Cole. And then I said, I'm not going to Heyman myself, in reference to John Heyman saying Aaron Judge to San Francisco, book it. I said, I'm not going to Heyman myself, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you Bogarts is coming back, but I feel pretty good at the moment. So I'll ask you guys from the Scoop Shop, was I wrong? From everything that you were reading, was I wrong to feel good in that moment?
I thought you were the first, like when you started feeding us stuff, and I will say this, it was a very different tone when we started the morning based on what was coming through the chat. And then I'd say maybe right before the Heyman tweet, you started telling us things were, you were telling us from people that were talking to you, things were heading in the right direction. And then you get Heyman, you get McAdam, you get, P-Dave, whatever. But he has the big tweet of momentum. And it's kind of just building and building and building. And I don't know. I don't know if it was a ploy, like you said, and you kind of hinted at it with the Scott Boras stuff and trying to push it over. Maybe they were leaking things to the local guys, hoping that it would push the deal to a conclusion. But
this was the first tweet. The first tweet that even mentioned the Red Sox with John Heyman. I mean, the with Xander Bogaerts and the Red Sox that connected them, because before it was like, oh, the Cubs and the fucking Dodgers and the Mariners. Every other team was like the Xander Bogaerts except for the Boston Red Sox. So John Heyman at 11:56 a.m. on Wednesday tweeted, Red Sox are in heavy discussions with star shortstop Xander Bogaerts. And I retweeted it and I said, oh boy, I don't really need another Arson Judge situation on my hands. No idea how to feel about this. This could easily be Boras trying to get the Padres to up their offer. And then I tweeted again. I'm going to continue about my day as if that Heyman tweet never existed. Major consider the source alarms going off. That has Scott Boras trying to get the Padres to sweeten the pot written all over it. So anyone that's like, you fucking made us believe that Bogarts was good. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I fucking looked at the Heyman tweet, which was the first tweet of the day to say the Red Sox and the fucking Bogarts team, they're scissoring over here and things are... I was like, that stinks of Boras trying to get the Padres to pony up. I was 100% right on that. So then I'm starting to get these text messages that the Scoop Shop was able to see. That's when I tweeted out the video of me and Xander. Then the Sean McAdam tweet. Again, just to reiterate, one Red Sox person asked by someone today whether the Sox would re-sign Bogarts. Answer without hesitation, yes. And I'll even say one of the fucking texts that was in the Scoop Shop was more or less a paraphrasing. If it doesn't get done tonight, it's going to get done tomorrow. Was it fair or unfair? That's what was said.
That was word for word, and I'd say that would line up. Coley, I know you had tweeted a picture. It was like the, David Ortiz Bogarts thing. I posted the sexy Bogarts pic. It was no one saying anything, but it felt like the momentum was pushing over. It felt like we were getting to that point.
Yeah.
Even I also said in that moment, and Tyler agreed, do it now. Like, don't wait.
Don't
Correct.
fuck with AJ
Yeah,
Preller.
Wait.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt too. Like, you get this text message being like, it's going to happen either tonight or it's going to happen tomorrow. They're going to pay him. They're going to pay him. And I'm like, okay, but why? If they're going to pay him, why are we waiting until tonight or tomorrow? Why can't we do it right now? I feel like we should do it right now. I feel like that's a good time to do it. And again, I tweeted, I'm not going to Heyman myself, but I feel pretty good at the moment. So I'm saying, I'm not breaking news here. I'm not promising that Xander Bogaerts is coming back. I'm not saying, hey, let's party. Fucking Bogarts to Boston, baby. I said, but I feel pretty good. Like, knowing what I know, I feel pretty good. I feel like that's the last. And then when everyone started, it didn't really take like a negative turn. It just kind of fizzled out. Then we didn't hear anything. Now you're talking about the Rule 5 draft. Then we're talking about losing Noah Song. The Red Sox, again, for the 5th straight year, taking a prospect from the Yankees. Then out of nowhere, boom, fucking the Red Sox sign Masataka Yoshida. 5 years, $90 million. And this one will come back to haunt us later in the whole narrative scope of things. So now everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, the Red Sox are cooking now.
Well,
Coley.
Before the signing, I think it was fucking Catillo was like, we just asked Heim how he's feeling, and he was like smiling. And like, this was like the most emotion he's shown all winter meetings. And everyone's been talking about Xander, and then it's like, oh, we signed Yoshi. Sick. He must be feeling good because we also got a guy who's played in Major League Baseball before.
Yeah.
But no, just smiling.
Just smiling.
And when they were asking these questions, they were like, how are things going with Bogarts? Like it was specifically along those lines. So it was boosting it up. And I'll throw Marino Pepin in there as well, tweeting those friggin' cash emojis that were going nuts on Twitter. I agree.
I don't buy that. I don't.
And you said
like,
that weeks ago. Like you had no problem putting that out there. And I think everyone really learned their lesson once again by the end of the night there, where he was just tweeting emojis and there was no actual pulse on what was going on.
Even as somebody who's not
nothing
in the weeds of baseball Twitter and famously not invited to Jerry's Scoop Shop, it felt like it felt like every tweet was worded as like the Red Sox are close with Bogarts without saying the Red Sox are close with Bogarts. It was like there's momentum, there's heavy discussions, like they're flirting, well, like shit like that. And it was like, well, either it's fucking close or it's not. But I did feel good about it. And I was like willing to throw my phone away for like the rest of the day, being like, okay, next time I get a notification about this, they'll probably sign him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I can just kind of throw out like what I was hearing. I think the day started with basically being told that there's a big meeting happening. Like this is like all hands on deck. Like if you're with the Red Sox in San Diego, you're part of this meeting. But if you're back home in Boston, like you're going to Fenway for like this meeting. Like I was like, okay, like this is serious. And it kind of gave off the Scott Boras vibes of like, hey, like it's the end of the winter meetings. Like, are we doing this or not? Like, are we fucking or not? Because if we're not, then we're gonna go to another house party, essentially. So that's how the day started. So I was like, all right, I feel like if he's gonna sign, I was still preparing myself for the worst because at that point in the morning, we didn't have the Heyman tweet, we didn't have the McAdam tweet, we didn't have some of the texts that were coming in to the Scoop Shop. So I was like, all right, this feels like the day, but I'm still not sold that it's gonna be the Red Sox. Just feels like, you know, that scene in the Titanic where the fucking boat snaps in half and then it goes back up for the second time. It's like, all right, this is where it goes down. Like we know we're about to fucking go down. Is the door big enough or not?
Happened.
What, Coley?
You didn't have to say the scene in the Titanic. That really happened to the Titanic.
Well, I'm giving you a visual. A lot of people weren't there.
On the Titanic?
Yeah. Like everyone, I guarantee you there's not a person listening to this podcast right now that was there that night.
Sounds risky saying that.
Red Sox Nation's pretty big. Could be somebody. When did the Titanic sink? What year was it?
1912. April 15th, 1912.
Yeah, they're probably dead.
Set sail on the 10th, hit the iceberg on the 14th, but it took until after midnight to sink, so it sank on the 15th.
Well, they had plenty of time to get out of there.
I mean, if a newborn baby was on the Titanic, they'd be 110.
Coley out to a hot start, victim blaming in the Titanic 12 minutes into the podcast.
Victim blaming.
You died on the Titanic?
Survivors.
What were you doing for those 8 hours where it was sinking?
Yeah, hearing not a lot of hustle.
Not enough heart from the
Not
Titanic
a lot
victims.
of hustle. What was I saying?
The Titanic.
Oh yeah, the Titanic sank. Rest in peace to all the victims. There's a lot. There's a lot of them.
Suck on it.
That's uncalled for, Alex. I know you're upset. I know you're upset. I am too. But telling the victims of the Titanic sinking to suck on it is classless. And that's why people hate us in Boston.
Even from that morning, though, things that came out of it were like the Red Sox are weary of long years on this deal.
All right, well, we'll get there because we need. There's a whole.
It doesn't appear any other team in the league cares about that anymore. Not a single one.
Certainly not the fucking Padres. So the Red Sox signed fucking Masataka Yoshida, 5 years, $90 million, and that'll come back to bite us later on because essentially with the posting fee of $15 million, their offer to this dude in Japan was better than their offer to Xander Bogaerts in spring training. The optics of that aren't great. Then I'm just kind of minding my own fucking business. It's a little after midnight, just chilling. And John Heyman. John Heyman, the Scott Boras mouthpiece himself. Shocker that John Heyman has the deets. Not just that he's going there, but he's got Bogarts. He's signed somewhere, the team, the years, and the dollars. And he wants to get all upset when people are like, you're a Scott Boras mouthpiece. Save it. To quote my friend Tyler, save it. I get frustrated when he tries to say that he's not a Scott Boras mouthpiece. He is. Regardless, I digress. That's getting away from the main point here. Here's kind of what I've heard since then. He was really close, and I don't know if it is 6. The second that this news came out, I get Scoop Shop. I'm told the Red Sox offer was good. I was like, okay, what does that mean? Well, what is it? And Alex Spear said it was 6 for $160. I kind of asked around, like, what was it really 6 $160? Because if the Red Sox feel like it was a good offer and 6 $160 is the offer, yeah, okay, that would have been a good offer in spring training. And I do believe, honestly, and Coley, I don't know how you feel about this, Tyler, Pete, fucking Jake, chime in. If Xander Bogaerts gets 6 $160 put in front of him on Valentine's Day, is he still a Red Sox right now? Yes or no? Just a simple yes or no.
Yeah.
I would go yes. 5 $150, 6 $180. They would have found the path.
Yeah. Coley? Yes.
Yeah.
Pete?
Probably yes.
Jake?
Yeah, I think so.
So I know that the Red Sox right now are probably hoping that the narrative, this is not the narrative, they're probably hoping that the narrative is 280 for over 11 years. Who the fuck would give him that? No one can blame us. Why would we? Even the fans are probably thinking, what the fuck? Padres fans on Twitter were like, why the fuck did we just do that? Red Sox fans are like, why the fuck did they do that? So that's what the Red Sox are hoping spreads. Who the fuck would do that? No Red Sox fan in their right mind would give Xander Bogaerts $280 million, play shortstop or wherever the fuck until he's 41 years old. No way. Okay, fine. But Coley's been saying this all along. You never should have let him get to free agency in the first place. You didn't learn your lesson with John Lester of just lowballing a dude in spring training and then doubling your offer when they become a free agent and then getting outbid by the team that really, really wants the player in the end. How many fucking times does this have to happen to this organization, to this ownership group before they learn their fucking lesson? If your best offer is 6 for $160 and you throw out 4 for $90, was it 4 for $90? 4 for $90 in spring training. And then they also were like, hey, if you don't like that, how about 1 for $30? Do you like that? So they won 1 for $30, 4 for $90. If you've got 6 for $160 in your back pocket, maybe throw it out there. I don't know. It's just me. Because if you're willing to go there, and we just asked our panel of esteemed Red Sox analysts, do you think that he would have taken it? And across the board, it was yes. If you have that in your back pocket and you're willing to go there years-wise, $6 wise, what's that AAV?
27.
27.6.
So then that's north of the AAV that he got. But I mean, the San Diego Padres quite literally doubled you up in everything. That's what Dallas just said. We just finished Baseball is Dead. He's like, they doubled them up in everything. They doubled them up in dollars. They doubled them up in years. Of course. And so I talked to someone, let's just say 1 degree of separation away from the Red Sox front office. 1 degree of separation away. And this individual was like, it almost felt like the JD situation where Xander was running out of options. You're playing musical chairs and you're running out of options. And the reason why we got all these reports of the Red Sox feel pretty fucking good that he's going to come back is because he was looking at 6/160 and being like, damn, I thought I was going to get 200. I thought I was going to get 220, but 6/160 might be the best option that I got. And then from out of nowhere, the fucking Kool-Aid man comes crashing through the wall. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 11 years, 280, baby. Like, who the fuck invited this guy? We were having a Red Sox Xander Bogaerts reunion party up in this bitch. And then this motherfucker comes crashing through the wall with 11 years and 280. It's not that kind of party. We were just smoking a little weed. This dude just crashed through the wall with fucking biker meth. What are you doing here? And that's what happened, essentially, is that they felt good about it. Xander, I'm sure, was advised by Scott Boras, like, all right, 6/160, like, that's not, like, let's hold out a little bit longer. Like, it's only December. Like, dudes are signing on fucking Valentine's Day these days. Let's hold out. Let's see if we can get 8 years. Let's see if we can bump up the AAV a little bit. Let's be patient here. It's not like there's no deadline to sign this deal because it's the winter meetings and the winter meetings are ended. And then the Padres come from the fucking clouds with the dumbest, and I don't mean this as an insult to Xander, the dumbest fucking offer of the offseason to any player. They went close to $400 million is what I've been told for Aaron Judge. He took less to stay in New York. Then they went $340 for Trey Turner. He took $300 to go to Philly. It was fucking Russian roulette. The San Diego Padres were going to sign a top free agent. It didn't matter what position they played. They were going to sign a top free agent. It just so happened to be Xander Bogaerts. And it just so happened to be the cheap ass fucking Boston Red Sox that was the only other team that was negotiating with him. So that in comparison, maybe he thinks about it. If there's like a better deal on the table, or the Red Sox come with an 8 or a 9 year, whatever it is, 8-year deal for $200 million. Because you posed the question, how much money is enough money, right? Trey Turner told you 300's plenty. What's better, 300 million or 340 million? $40 million is a lot of fucking money to leave on the table to go where you actually want to go. If you're Xander Bogaerts and you have 8 years for 200, 220 on the table, do you think that you want to stay where you actually want to stay? Xander got put in a position because the Red Sox fucked up in spring training. Xander got put in a position to where he could not say no to that offer from the Padres. He would have been a fucking idiot to be like, oh man, 11 years and 280 million. This 6/160 kind of looks good to me. You know, I really love Boston. They got a fucking tasty burger right around the corner of the ballpark. How can I say no to staying? So no Red Sox fan. And again, Red Sox fans are smart. I don't think there's a single Red Sox fan that looks at what Xander just did and is like, how could you? There's not one. Everyone is like, damn, dude, that sucks for us. Because we're still stuck here in Boston with this fucking roster minus Xander Bogaerts with a front office that does not know what the fuck they're doing. That was like, you guys in the scoop shop saw that text message that we got the night of Xander. Like, it was maybe 20 minutes after Xander signed. It was one of the most and I'm not teasing the listeners, one of the most disheartening paragraphs to read that was a summary of the state of what is going on with this team right now, which to give you the cliff notes, it's that from an outsider's point of view, the Red Sox don't know what they're doing. That is a scary thought. When this is like someone that's in the industry, right? They don't work for the Red Sox. They never did work for the Red Sox. They've never been a part of the organization. But they're in the industry, right? And they're telling you from an outsider's perspective that from their opinion and a collective opinion from others, from their peers, the Red Sox right now are looked at as an organization that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And that is terrifying.
It was that message, like, for obviously we're not saying it word for word, but I think I put it in there. It was like the biggest fear. What we all have sat here and worried about, thinking, you know, with the Red Sox and them being indecisive when it came to the luxury tax coming into the year, with the late Trevor Story signing, with how they handled the trade deadline, all these different parts, we all kept saying, what is going on here? It feels like there's no map. They don't know where they're going. it kind of confirmed that is what's happening. And I think today in the Globe, there were a couple things that were really big about this whole Bogarts conversation. And it was Spear and Pete Abe saying, basically confirming what we're talking about. That question you asked us, would Bogarts have taken that deal in spring training? This is what they said. Bogarts, a source suggested, would have been open to a new deal that was in the range of what Story received. The 5-year, $151 million agreement that Jose Altuve landed in his extension several years earlier likewise represented a framework that Bogarts would have welcomed. So for all those people, and there is a group of people on Twitter right now who are talking about Xander Bogaerts and saying, oh, if he really wanted to be here, he'd be here.
That's
fucking spare me with that bullshit. That is a ridiculous statement. Look at ownership. In 6/160, congratulations. That's the bare minimum. I'm not giving them any credit for that. That is absurd. There was apparently 3 other teams at 200 or willing to go over 200. You couldn't give them 7/196 to at least get near that 200 million mark?
That's why I don't believe it. I don't believe 6/160. That's just a gut feeling. I don't know for sure what the offer was, but I've asked more than one person who may have knowledge of that. Like, with 6/160 for real, no one wants to answer me, which kind of like, if you're listening, be like, well, then that means that it's either that or worse. If they're not, like, I feel like if the narrative or if Twitter is saying that it's 6/160 and they're getting skewered for it, then you would want to kind of correct what people are saying and be like, no. We went 8 for fucking 210. I don't know what people are talking about, but I can't get an answer on that.
I just really cannot believe that anybody would take the road. Like, if he wanted to be here, he'd be here. Why would you not take the road of, well, if they wanted him to be here, he would be here? Does the front office think that we're going to like throw them a fucking parade if they come in like $10 or $15 million less than what people thought that he was going to get signed for? Like, as far as I'm concerned, money is fake when it comes to baseball, especially when it's the fucking Red Sox, because the Red Sox print money. So if they gave him like $300 million over fucking like 6 years, I'd be like, all right, cool, whatever. Xander's staying here for the next 6 years. I don't give a fuck. I'm paying a shitload of money to go to Fenway, period. Who cares? As long as the guy stays here, like, that is the power move that a team like the Red Sox should be able to pull. And they should be able to throw around fuck you money like the Padres are somehow. Like, it's literally just, to me, it really just screams like we care or we don't care, or our priorities are way misplaced. Like, it's very clear that the Padres are like, this is all fucking fake and we care about winning. So we'll just throw anything that we can. Like, the way that you were just describing, like, the Padres' pursuit of free agents is like the criminally horny guy at closing time at the bar, where they are just going from woman to woman, seeing who they can bring home, and it doesn't fucking matter who it is as long as they're getting laid.
The Padres, it's 1:30 in the morning, and the Padres are like, I'm fucking something tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be, but it is something for sure. I talked to someone with the Padres last night, late night, because it's fucking whatever, 3-hour difference. And they were just like, yeah, like, the owner don't give a fuck. Like, he's the Stevie Cohen of the West Coast. He's a Padre fan who has a fuck ton of money and he's not afraid to spend it. And he wants to win not 1, not 2, not 3. Like, that's his mindset. His mindset is like, the Padres are my baby and I'm going to go all in on winning a championship. We have not seen, I'm going to say it again, we have not seen John Henry in 4 fucking years. He's out here trying to buy football teams. He's out here buying and selling footy teams. He's now talking about buying, he bought the fucking Pittsburgh Penguins. And now what's he buying in Vegas? A basketball team?
Yes, NBA team.
I mean, I don't want to, like, because I feel like it's such like a cliche sports fan thing to do. When your team sucks or things are bad, sell the team. It's not even like that, where you're brown paper bagging it at the ballpark and you're holding up signs that say sell the team. But if you genuinely don't care about this franchise as much as you once did, sell the team. It's not like a get the fuck out of here, like, fuck you. It's if your priorities are to build a portfolio, then do it with, you can't do that with a franchise like the Red Sox. the owner of the Boston Red Sox, that has to be their baby. There are certain, not just in baseball, there are certain franchises throughout professional sports that franchise has to be priority number one. And I think we can safely assume, since we haven't seen him in 4 years, that the Red Sox are not John Henry's priority. And that's okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you want to keep going out and buying all this shit and building this huge conglomerate of franchises, all the power to you. But as Red Sox fans, we're asking you, prioritize this shit, step the fuck up, start caring like you used to, or please respectfully sell the fucking team.
Like, they're great businessmen. They are the Fenway Sports Group, great group of businessmen. And that served the Red Sox for a while. Like, it brought us several World Series because they were great businessmen. They were printing money. They were like, all right, we can throw around this money when they cared about the Red Sox. Now they're great businessmen and they're like diversifying their portfolio. And they're like, well, we're not going to sink this much money into the Red Sox. And like the worst thing about it is that you know that there is an inevitable course correction that is going to come at some point in the next like year or two where they're going to be like, look, we're spending money, and they're going to spend it on somebody who is worse, somebody who means less to the city of Boston, somebody who means less to the Red Sox, and who just like isn't going to deliver what Xander Bogaerts probably would have delivered had they given him that extension. And they're pissing off everybody. Not even just talking about fans. They're pissing off everybody that's in the building that is already in a Red Sox uniform by not keeping Xander Bogaerts.
Like, I can't tell you today when I saw that Rafael Devers Instagram post, that tribute post saying goodbye to Xander.
Oh, he's gone.
Like, that's the shit you are doing right here. You want to talk about bad business? Listen, Xander, there's a world where we always talked about it. You wanted to make sure Xander was here, but the most important thing to this organization was making sure Rafi was here. Keep that relationship happy. That's why part of solving Bogarts was so important here. And now you've basically put your biggest asset, your most important asset, the foundation of really what this organization is holding on to. You put that in a horrendous spot.
Yeah, and it's like, not only are you not getting the guys and like letting them go, you're disrespecting them and basically pushing them out the door. Which is like, if you're the other guys in the locker room, in the clubhouse, and you see that, you're like, well, what does that mean for me? Like, if Xander Bogaerts is getting disrespected in spring training with like that extension, and then you see what happens and how it plays out this way. If you're Devers and you're like, okay, so what does that mean for me like a year from now? Like, it's just it's painting the wrong picture.
So as it pertains to Rafael Devers, which, by the way, this was his Instagram post with probably a so-so translation from Instagram's translation. Thank you for teaching me many things. I'm always going to admire you as a person and as a baller. The best. You're an example to follow. And he's probably going to follow him right out the fucking door. Because if you're Rafael Devers, and you are what, 25, 26?
20 going on 26.
When does he turn 26? October?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 26 currently. Yeah.
Okay, so he's 26. So he's 4 years younger than Xander. And you just saw him get 11 years. If I'm Rafael Devers and I just saw what happened with Xander, why would I take anything less than a 15-year deal to stay in Boston? Why would I do that? Like, if that's what's out there, if these people are that fucking stupid and they're giving out these long-term contracts, which I thought we got away from. Like, I thought we got to a point where people saw like the Miggy, the Pujols, and, you know, signing these star players until they're 40, 41 years old. In Pujols' case, 48 years old. Like, I thought we got away from that. And now we're just right back to it, apparently, where we're signing players into their 40s when they're still 30 years old. It's reckless. I thought that Jacob deGrom's 5-year for $85 million contract was going to be the most reckless contract that we see this offseason. The Xander Bogaerts one is, I think it tops that in terms of just, where like people were saying if he comes back, then Marcelo Meyer is going to get called up in 2 years, and then Xander can play second base. We're talking about 2-3 years from now, moving this fucking guy off shortstop. You just signed him until he's 41. He's 30. That is crazy. And I still think Xander's going to play shortstop beyond his age 32, 33 season. But if that was the conversation now, how the fuck do you know what type of player we're talking about when he's 41?
Well, for everything I've read, it's like the only reason people are doing that is because the AAV matters more than the total, which means baseball's broken. They've found the loophole immediately from this last collective bargaining. And it's if AAV matters more than total, then yeah, people are going to keep doing this. Rosenthal wrote something like before anyone had signed, being like, the confluence of events happening right now, they just got out of a lockout. They're guaranteed labor for, 7 years? Is that the agreement? So people are more prone to spend money when they know work is going to happen no matter what. So yeah, these teams are operating like we know for 7 of these 11 years, 7 of these 10 years, however fucking long the deal is, there's going to be baseball. We don't have a concern there. They just sold that fucking streaming service to Disney. So that was extra money for $30 million per team. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've gotten so much farther away from like the key issue here. The key issue started in 2018. In 2018, the world best team in Red Sox history. You heard it floated because you forget John Henry owns the media too. Started floating. Hey, this is sick, right? Too bad we can only keep 2 of these guys. And you were like, what? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, Devers, Bogarts, and Mookie. We can only keep 2 of them. And it was like, all right, we'll deal with this next year. We're winning 108 games in the World Series. We don't want to think about this right now. And then Dombrowski, that was his first World Series ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He never won other.
So
right?
did he win one in Marlins?
Marlins, yeah.
97?
Was that technically his?
Believe so.
So he gets pumped about winning one. Because all those years in Detroit had scarred him. He gets pumped about winning one. And I mean, I know I've made this point a million times. He just starts re-signing people to terrible contracts. He gives Sale a deal, an injured Sale a deal. He gives Evaldi a deal. He just starts giving out money and then leaves, fired, leaves. And it's like, we really care about the luxury tax now. We really care about the luxury tax. We've never once cared about the luxury tax in the history of the Boston Red Sox. Now we care. When our best homegrown player in franchise history is about due for a deal, we care deeply about the luxury tax. And they start planting seeds. Mookie doesn't actually want to be here. He's never wanted to be here. He's always hated Boston. He's never even, when he comes here, he has someone drive him. He wears a blindfold so he doesn't have to see the city. Like, they made it so clear. They split the fan base. The fan base is still fractured from this. It is not recovered because you're seeing it now with Xander. You're seeing it again with Xander. People will make excuses because they believe this bullshit. There's people who, like, you saw what they did to Francona. You saw what they did to Ortiz. They were like, look at this. This guy's out of his mind.
Pillhead.
He's telephone. Yeah, they call Francona a pillhead. They do this so often where they just jerk around their homegrown talent and people eat it up. People fucking live for it. And it makes me sick. Like, if the whole point of trading Mookie was to reset things so this didn't happen again, I can't blame Heim for that. I really can't. I'm not saying Heim's blameless in all of this. We'll get to that. But you can't pin it all on him when this is a recurring issue going back to fucking Theo. Like, this is not a new problem by any stretch of the imagination. When I see the Ben Cherington smiling, grinning like a Cheshire cat because he won the fucking lottery, like, yeah, I miss that guy. Not because he was some brilliant GM, but because of the moves he didn't make. That's what Heim's legacy at best is looking like right now. The frivolous trades he didn't make when people were like, go all in for this guy midseason, go all in for this guy. No, at bare minimum, he is keeping the farm intact and growing it. to a place where in 5 years from now, maybe there's a team worth celebrating. That's the best he can do right now if he really isn't allowed to pay people. I do think 6/160 was probably competitive. I don't think the Padres opening offer, although who fucking knows with those guys, I would love for them to be investigated because there's no, that $400 million was burning a hole in his pocket. I don't know if he knows that arms dealer that was just traded back to Russia. I don't know who he's involved with, but he was spending that money. I think I was next in line if Xander turned. He was giving that money to somebody. And it's infuriating. Like, we helped him get Soto. Did they forget? Did the Padres forget we helped them get Soto? I feel like they forgot. And they were not very kind to us this offseason. Didn't care for that. You have to not treat your players like dickheads. They lowballed Mookie. And people go, oh, you can't lowball a guy with $300 million. They did. They lowballed him with $300 million. And they told the whole Red Sox fan base that he was being unreasonable. And then he signed for pretty much right in the middle of where he came in and where the Red Sox came in. It's almost like he was trying to negotiate. Weird that that's a tactic used by people still. And now was he Silver Slugger and Gold Glove again this year? First team All MLB? Would hate that. Haven't had a leadoff hitter since. Maybe Yoshi can do it. Or he'll never, or he's Rusney Castillo. Has anyone made that comparison yet? Because we were heavy on Seiya last year, and we missed on that. Just like we were heavy on Abreu, missed on that, and then got Rusney. That's what I'm worried about with Yoshi. We can't even talk about Yoshi because of how royally we fucked up the rest of this offseason. I said in spring training, give him 5/150, he'll take it. I said that in spring training. I think if we give him 7/210 last night, he takes that. Despite it being way less, because like you said, Trey Turner took less. If the Mets offered more to DeGrom, he was going to Texas. People have taken less because people aren't that greedy. They just want what they think is fair. The Red Sox never treated Xander fairly. Red Sox fans, by the way, if he had signed 5/150 in spring training, would have fucking killed themselves because they would have said that was a gross overpay. They would have been furious at that contract. So all this faux outrage. How many All-Star games did Xander make? 4?
4.
How long did he play for the Red Sox?
Like a decade.
Red Sox fans have never cared about Xander Bogaerts. So I can't put this on ownership. I can't put this on Heim. Red Sox fans never treated Xander like the star he always was. Every time I tweeted positively about Xander, remember the year he was leading the league in hitting and then broke his wrist and toughed it out and played the rest of the year and his average fell off a cliff and people said he sucked and they wanted him gone? That was what Xander used to deal with when he gave everything he could to this team. He did it this year. He played through an injury this year and still almost led the league in hitting. That's who we just let walk out the door. Now to get to Heim and what could be going on there, when you get a text like that after Xander signs with the Padres, I put zero stock into that. That's kicking someone while they're down. If he had sent that before the offseason and he was some soothsayer who was looking into the future, yeah, he called his shot. After that, that's just a rival GM, rival whoever the fuck, kicking a man while he's down. Sick, dude. Anyone can do that. What I think is the only reasonable explanation, and there's still time. I know it sucks right now. There's still time. Coming into the offseason, if someone told you, hey, Carlos Correa and Xander Bogaerts are going to get pretty much the same contract, you would have said, did Carlos Correa lose a limb? What happened there? Did he kill a guy? Why is he getting so much less? And then, no. Xander's going to get $300 million over a decade. He's going to be the oldest player to get a 10-plus year deal in MLB history. You'd go, oh, that's fucking insane. What happened? Did he forge a check? Did he sign himself to that deal? Because that doesn't make any fucking sense. The whole pecking order was Trey Turner was going to get almost Aaron Judge money. And he was offered almost Aaron Judge money. He turned it down. Carlos Correa was going to get the second highest deal. That's probably still going to be the case. If he doesn't get the highest deal, might not be AAV wise, but now that he's the top guy left, he probably will get more than Turner and Xander. And if the Red Sox looked at Xander and they were like, you're going to get 11,280 and we could get Correa for 11,300. Yeah, that's a pretty fair line to draw in the sand because Carlos Correa in year 10 of that contract is probably going to look a lot better than Xander in year 7. And that's me saying that. I love Xander more than anybody. But if you're looking at this as a business decision, which I can't give them the credit that they are, but if you look at it like, These guys are getting the same deal. Yeah, we'll take the younger guy, obviously. That's a shrewd business decision, and it would salvage this offseason. The Red Sox have been tied to Correa 0. It does not look like this is going to happen. But if it does, I can't fully throw myself off the cliff yet. There's still a path to a pretty decent offseason in front of us. Now, if the Globe or whoever the fuck that was is saying Heyman and everyone's shell-shocked, yeah, they all need to go. And I love Heyman. I like talking to him. I like the person he is. But if he's truly shell-shocked, then yeah, he's an assistant.
Yeah.
If that's sensationalized and bullshit, then it's time to go.
It's like Saving Private Ryan. Like when they're on the fucking beach and there's just bombs going off, and like you have someone that's like completely shell shocked and they can't move, and you have to fucking pull them down so they don't get their heads blown off. Like we don't need that. We need Tom Hanks in this situation. We need the guy that's like fucking get down, like do this, do that. That's the guy that we need. But I mean, I'm not saying that Heim's not that guy, but he hasn't proven to be that guy.
Even if you do sign Correa to a deal that looks like reasonable in comparison to the Xander deal, which is unreasonable, like every deal is going to probably look reasonable compared to that deal. Even if they do sign him to a reasonable deal, isn't there always going to be like a compartment in your brain that's just like, okay, they pulled like the fire alarm based off of them fucking it up, because they already came out and said that Xander was their number one priority. And
yeah, I mean, I think that was the right thing to do, though. Like,
do you think they're lying?
He was their guy. Yeah, they could also be lying, but it's also like
I don't think that they're lying.
They fucked up in spring training. Yeah, like you can't cry over spilled milk at that point. Like you can't let your own guys talk to other. They had an open marriage with Xander,
right?
And they were like, "Wow, that guy's got a way better dick." Like I'm not coming back. Like the marriage is now closed. I'm with him now. But you can't let. Once they start talking to other teams, you have no control over that price.
Right.
When you have the guy, he's literally contracted for another year. Yeah, 5,150 sounds like the world. It sounds nothing. 11,280. If you told me in spring he was going to get 11,280, I'd be like, oh, he's playing for the Yankees. That would, or the Mets.
Or the Dodgers.
Yeah, and it's a thing where you're like, you can't be like, oh, we tried our best to put out the fire when you fucking lit it inside your own house to begin with.
It burnt all season. Like that fire. I don't care anyone who wants to say Xander Bogaerts didn't want to be here or whatever it was. The guy showed up to the presser before the season depressed. Legit so depressed that everyone could tell. He didn't have to say a fucking word, and the whole media room's just looking at him. Sad as fuck. Just trying to get through. Rafael Devers is telling us over the course of the year, he had to take Xander out for drinks after games just to loosen him up because that was all on top of him. You know what I mean? Like that was the stuff sitting there. Like
so that jogged the memory of like something that I didn't quite know how to tweet it, but I did want to like talk about it. Being around Fenway all year, you could tell like if you've been around Bogey before, you could tell there was a clear difference in his body language, in his energy this year compared to all other years. All other years, like this is a bubbly guy. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. What's up? Smiling, a pep in his step. This year, it was a lot of just dragging ass. Like there was a lot of just like, it looks like his best friend just died. His dog ran away. It was a lot of, and I'm not blaming him for that because I'm sure like if you're a Red Sox fan, maybe you're going to say, oh, be a professional. Like, this is your job. Like, you got to get your shit together, be a leader, like, go out there, perform, da-da-da-da-da. Or you could read between the lines. Why is he so sad? He wants to be here. He wants to stay here. He's asking the Red Sox to play ball with him, and they didn't. Like the way that he was treated at times was certainly puzzling, I guess is the word. Sometimes in spring training, at the beginning of free agency.
Did they forget about me? That was the line in spring training. Did they forget I'm on the team? Legit, that was what Xander Bogaerts said. Like, they are not even thinking of me. The guy who, say what you want about Mookie or whatever, was Bogarts was always the one answering the questions, being the quiet leader in the clubhouse. And it's no disrespect to Mookie, but Xander was kind of that staple inside of it.
Every day.
He may not have been the best player on the team, but that staple that kept everyone together, whether you were the older guys or the younger guys, because he could be that last connection they had to the Ortiz era. All the way now. Look at it. Rafael Devers is like, we're talking, he's your longest tenured position player on the fucking team right now. That's where you are now. Alex Verdugo's number 2.
That's fucking crazy.
That's actually insane.
That's crazy.
But that's one of the things now that's being said about the Red Sox organization. We have become, and not in the spending way, right? Everyone's like the Red Sox, the fucking Tampa Bay Rays now. I'm not saying in the spending way, but I think in some ways they have become the Tampa Bay Rays, and like we're just going to look at the numbers. Like they are not putting stock in if you're going to take Xander Bogaerts out of this clubhouse, and this is a guy that every single fucking player that you put a microphone in front of all season long was like, this is the guy that we need to keep. And I don't think that the Red Sox heard any of that. They're like, that's nice. We don't care. What are the numbers? And
it's disrespectful.
I also don't think they're considering like the Boston factor. And we've talked about this in the past. Like he's proven that he can play in the city and not everybody can do that.
Correct.
It matters.
But
it matters a ton.
That was something that I did want to know. And I didn't want to say it during the year because it sounds clickbaity to say during the year. But now that this is done, he's a Padre. I got that sense all fucking year that like when you saw him walk by, you're like, dead man walking every time. And there were points during the year where you would hear, like I would have conversations with guys who would have conversations with him. And I'm like, where are we at? Like, how are we feeling? I don't know. It doesn't feel like they want to pay him. Doesn't feel like they want to pay him. Like that was the vibe all season. Like I was doing checkups. I didn't say any of it on the podcast. Like I'm not trying to get like leaks and shit from like whoever's on the team. But that was something that happened periodically throughout the entire season. What's the deal? What are you hearing? What's he saying? What's going on? And the entire time I was like, I don't know. They ain't going to pay him. I don't think so. And he doesn't think they're going to pay him. And that was all fucking season. And it's just, if you've seen him, you knew that there was a drastic difference in the way that he carried himself, his energy. It was, I'm not going to say like, I'm not trying to criticize him. I'm trying to give you paint the picture of how much this weighed on him, but he was mopey. Like he was mopey this year. And
treated it like a job, like a dead end job. It's the most relatable thing an athlete can do. For whatever reason, we don't give athletes the same grace we give regular human. Like they're human beings.
Yeah.
He treated it like a job he hated. And that's the most relatable thing for any adult. I don't understand why people can't grasp
super
it.
Relatable. But it sucked to see, because you're looking at the situation saying, how do you not pay this guy? Like, how many people have to come forward and say, we need this guy? Like, he's a biggest part of what we've got going on here now, before, in the future. What is there to really think about? Like, what do you have to consider? Pay this guy.
That's what I'm saying about like they're the Red Sox. Like it's not a situation where like, oh well, we'll see what our financials look like at the end of the year and see if we can have room in the budget to keep them around. It's like, you're the fucking Red Sox. Pay this guy, especially like considering I was nervous because I don't trust the front office like throughout the course of the year. But like once the season started to really go off the rails, I was like, okay, they're gonna have to pay Xander, because like optically, it would look fucking horrible if you had the season that they had, and then they were like, all right, yeah, no, we're going to go in a different direction. We don't need this guy. So like that, I was gaining more confidence that he was going to end up staying here, but I guess I fucking underestimated the stupidity of the front office and how little they know what they're doing.
And that's where all of this, and I do think this is some of the Heim factor as well, none of this shit makes sense. You kept Xander around at the trade deadline. You never cared during that month. If you were going to try to actually get this done, if it was that important to you, you had to work on it. You just shouldn't have waited till the end of the year, which has been reported now. Bogarts opened that door before the trade deadline, by the way. He was waiting as a Scott Boras client. He opened that door to try and figure that out. But still, you did nothing and you let him leave for nothing. At least when John Lester got dealt, you got Yoenis Cespedes, which got you Rick Porcello. Instead, you jerked him around all the way, you left him until the season ended, jerked him around once, the offseason and everything came here. You completely lost that player and went over the luxury tax because of it. And now that he's gone, you hurt your draft pick compensation on top of it. Like, all of this stuff is like compounding factors here. It's like your behaviors and your actions, they're not smart. They don't make sense from a financial standpoint, from a roster construction standpoint. And now you've hurt yourself going into this offseason on top of it. And still, after all that, Xander Bogaerts said, hey, even though the Padres just gave me this deal that I know there's no way the Red Sox are going to come close, I still want to see if they'll match it. Or, let me see what they'll offer me. And Scott Boras goes, dude, these contracts, you can't even compare them. You can't even compare them. That's what it is right now. And Bogarts gave him the nod and said, that's okay.
That's sort of what bothers me too. It's like, I'm glad that Xander got the bag, and like a way bigger bag than anybody expected him to. But it pisses me off that it's that big that it now becomes like a cop out for the front office. But well, what do you wanted us to match that? Because you didn't have to let it get to that point.
Because anyone we talked about it during the season. It took one team. It took one team to be crazy, and you got the craziest fucking dude out of them all, AJ Preller, who's going to go over the luxury tax for the third straight year. No one's done that in these recent CBAs. The Dodgers are getting underneath it this year. That's why they're staying out of this whole shortstop market. They're going to be plugging young players, and that's part of the reason the Padres are pushing as hard as they are, because they know, fuck it, who cares 10 years from now if we have all these problem contracts? We're getting a World Series with this core. This is our shot to do it. They were the crazy ones, and the Red Sox kept calling Xander's bluff again, and I think they got confident. Like you said, Jared, where they were looking around and it was, hey, no one's going to go crazy seemingly for Xander. Well, after you lose out on Judge, after you lose out on Turner, the Padres weren't going to go home from the winter meetings as the loser. Instead, the Red Sox did.
Yeah.
I can't fault because what we talked about last week, holding him through the trade deadline. Time called out the people above him being like, yeah, I can only pay him when I'm allowed to pay him. So it's like, if you're Heim, you don't trade him at the trade deadline, because it's like, maybe the guys above me will wake up and allow me to like offer him a real contract, because that's been a problem here too.
Yeah,
we've talked about it.
I think with the Xander stuff, like if you want to keep that door open, with the JD stuff, like he was toast before then. So like I would have been willing to flip him out the door. But when and this goes off some of the stuff we've talked about, Jared, like where things stand with certain guys like Evaldi at this point and how they're feeling, these are all like value picks that you have screwed over now. And when we're talking about the qualifying offer in these things, last year when they lost Eddie Rodriguez, they got those picks. And then on top of it, they had the Judd Fabian pick, so they could go and get Trevor Story and justify it in their eyes. Now you look at it, and this is what I'm hoping. You let Xander walk. You didn't get everything, but you're going to get a pick. You're going to get a pick for Evaldi most likely here. You better turn that around now that you missed out on Bogarts and go get someone with a QO. Whether that's Rodon, Bassett, pick your guy.
I'll be a little furious if they waste the qualifying offer on Bassett.
Agree. I would hope you shoot higher.
34. He's fine. He's better than most of the pitchers we have. But if you're going to blow the qualifying offer, do it on like Rodon.
The Rodon wants like 6 fucking years.
Good. He's 30. Like, what? Fine with that. And like, we give Trevor Story 7.
Trevor Story's got more of a proven track record than Rodon, though.
He's not. Of being injured. Story was as injured, if not more injured.
Both of them have a record of getting injured, though.
Sure. And one of them is like, it's been a tired arm because the White Sox fucked him over so many times and coming up. And now, last year, he probably should have been higher in the Cy Young race. Like, Carlos Rodon would instantly be our best pitcher. Instantly. The only other pitcher worth talking about is Kodai, because of what he could bring.
I mean, is that the move? Like, is that something that you'd be happy? So my question was going to be,
I'm only happy if we get Correa. There's no happiness.
So this was my question.
Trevor Story's playing fucking shortstop. There's no happiness. Trevor Story is now my least favorite player in Red Sox history. And I said
that's unfair.
I said this the second we signed him. I said it the second we signed him because I saw this coming. You can go read what I wrote the day we signed it. I was happy Time finally shut people up by signing a 9-figure deal. That was the only positive, because I said when I wrote it, this feels like the Xander replacement. And if he's the Xander replacement, it's a stupid fucking contract. You could have gotten Jose Iglesias last year to play second. He had a better season than Trevor Story did. He'll probably have a better season this year than Trevor Story did. He played for the Rockies and he had a better average and OPS on the fucking road, unlike Trevor Story, who also played for the fucking Rockies. He had 2 good weeks. He was hurt the rest of the year. He cannot throw from short to first. There's no chance he's your shortstop. If he is, you're playing him to sit. You bet he's Jacoby Ellsbury on the Yankees. If you pay him to play shortstop, he's going to get hurt to the point where he's in Arizona most of his career. It's a bad contract. And we give him an opt-in to make it a longer bad contract. Because there's no chance he's going to opt out after year 4, because no one's going to fucking pay him, because he's not going to be playing, because he's going to be hurt all the time. That was a stupid fucking deal.
In Coley, like, you talk about that arm. Like, the Red Sox can go and say, Brian O'Halloran, man, on MLB Network the other day, fucking busting fluids left and right, talking about Trevor Story at shortstop. Stop it. 2020, if you're talking arm strength ranks, which is the new thing from Baseball Savant, 40th percentile in 2020, 19th percentile in 2021, 8th percentile in 2022. You're going to tell me the same team that cared to let Jackie Bradley Jr. go roam around in right field last year while batting a $180 and saying, hey, you know, we value defense, it's very important. You're going to go play Trevor Story at a premium position at shortstop. And you're going to tell this guy who no longer has the arm to play, when he could be a Gold Glove second baseman, have a chance to be one of the better second basemen in all of baseball. You're going to go have him play shortstop for you. When you have the money, you have the finances, and there's real baseball reasons. I want Xander here. He was my guy. You know, whether you want to talk the leadership stuff and everything, in a vacuum, there's reasons Carlos Correa made more sense for you. Whether you want to talk the bat, hey, Carlos Correa was a better hitter than Xander Bogaerts this past year. I know Bogarts won the Silver Slugger. Carlos Correa's OPS plus was like 140. I think Bogarts was 131. That's just the reality. Carlos Correa had a down year defensively on the metrics. I think everyone on this podcast would tell you, you know, defensive metrics fluctuate from year to year. The guy was coming off the Platinum Glove Award the previous year. Carlos Correa has a better chance of sticking at shortstop for longer, and he's younger. If you go and get that guy, and he could excel in this market. He is kind of the opposite personality of Bogarts in a lot of ways. He's that heel,
but
he's
a prick.
Yes, but he's a Yankees killer. He doesn't give a fuck. And as he hit that watch, he hit that watch a year ago. If he did that shit on the Red Sox and we were watching him, everyone would be going nuts the minute he did it. And you would have that guy to pair with Rafael Devers, because if Fenway Sports Group isn't willing to go get that superstar to pair with Rafael Devers, blow it up. You're just not going to be able to get that far. You know, just, you know, clinging on to Rafael Devers or whatever it may be. And now you're in this situation where, hey, like, if you're not going to hand money out to Devers, like, all right, trade him now, because there's no point if you're not going to give him money. Pair those guys.
We're also putting just an immense amount of pressure on a 19-year-old to be a world-class shortstop. Like, I know he wasn't the same caliber prospect, but like Ryan Westmoreland, like, prospects don't make it to the majors for a lot of reasons. Noah fucking Song could be our number 2 right now, but he'd rather fly fucking helicopters or whatever the fuck he's doing. You don't know. Like, we can think we know with Marcelo Meyer, and everything you read seems like, yeah, he's the guy. Could it be Matthew Lugo instead because something happens? Yeah, it could. And that's a steep drop off when you're talking caliber of prospects. Like, it's just not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. Carlos Correa is a proven commodity. And that's why I led off with, if it got to the point where you're looking at the 2 deals and they're pretty similar, as opposed to you think you're going to get Xander. That was part of Xander, outside of him already playing here, outside of him should be the captain, shit like that. He was going to be $100 million cheaper than Carlos Correa. That's what, is it Britton who does the projections every offseason? Yeah. He had Xander pegged at like 100, and he's been off all offseason because the Padres have fucked everything up. But he's typically on the money. Like, he shows you his track record. He's like, this is what I do. Xander was supposed to be like 130 million less than Carlos Correa, not because he's worse, because he's older, and because of the market. Like, that's, no one saw this coming. So if that's what the Red Sox line of thinking is, they have to back it up by going and getting Carlos Correa, because Dansby Swanson's not it. I'd rather not. That seems like that's how you make this worse. is by giving Dansby Swanson like $210 million or whatever the fuck he's going to get because he'll be the last one. Like, just don't. I'd rather not. I'd rather literally anyone else.
That's the exact move Pete was referencing. Like, if you go and get Dansby Swanson to go play shortstop and be a slightly above average bat and play some solid defense for you, just what are you doing? You're not doing anything that's going to marginally make your team better. Like with Xander Bogaerts, there were the intangibles and these other things, the Devers component to it. Getting a slightly above average player and splurging on that? No, you're the Boston Red Sox and you have the funds to give out these deals. Look at what the Phillies have done, where they realize, the Padres as well, superstars matter. It's important to have those key caliber top level guys. Carlos Correa is one of those guys.
And that's like this Swanson theory hypothetical is like why I get so mad when people are like, the Red Sox aren't cheap. Look at how much money they're spending, blah, blah. Like, look at how much like they're handing out money. It's like, yeah, they're handing out money as like a backup plan to worse players when they're cheaping out on the players that would actually make you a much better team. That's where I get mad about them being cheap. It's like, shell out for your plan A, not your plan B or C.
That in
like at least with the Correa situation, it would be like basically a second plan A because he is a very good player.
Jared?
I think it's a unique situation when you break it down, plan A, plan B. By the way, shout out plan B. If you're
Jesus Christ.
What?
I thought you raised your hand to be like, Carlos Correa just signed with the Giants. Like, that's why I thought you raised your hand.
No.
He was like, plan B rocks.
I have a take on.
I love not pulling out.
Yeah.
Go plan B.
I think I know your
hashtag leave it in. I have a take on the whole plan A, plan B situation because I think it is very unique in the Red Sox case with Xander Bogaerts being your plan A. You can acknowledge that is Carlos Correa the better player? Yeah. Is he younger? Yeah. And to Pete's point about you should always, throw your resources and your most money at your plan A to make sure your plan A works out. What if your plan B is technically better, but from a PR standpoint, logistically, you can't like if Xander Bogaerts, the most beloved player on your team that's been here for 2 World Series titles, came up through the system, he's been here since he was 16 years old. You can't, as the Red Sox, be like, we like Xander, but like we're making Carlos Correa a top priority this offseason. So that's why, to Coley's point about the lying, they could be lying all along. For 6 for 160, it's enough to where smart baseball fans be like, that's not a serious offer. Not in this market. Not when you see what Trey Turner got. Not what Xander was projected to get even without seeing any offers. 6 for 160 is not a serious offer. You knew that wasn't going to get it done. You were hoping that it was like a JD Martinez situation where no teams emerged. And it's like, yeah, I guess I'll take 6 for 160 because I prefer to be here. Maybe it's a little bit of a haircut. Maybe like 180s out there, but fine, I'll take the 160.
Even if it was a serious offer, why didn't they give it to him in spring training, or why didn't they give it to him in the mid-season?
Well, what if Correa is their plan A secretly? What if it's like, hey, we had to act like we wanted Xander back and tell him that it's the top priority, and like, damn, man, really, really missed out on Xander there. And then you pursue. I don't think this is going to happen, by the way, but it's just a theory. Tyler?
Let me keep walking down this road. And if, let's look at the agents. It's Scott Boras. Scott Boras is their agents. So if you really want to walk that line, if you're sitting there spitting game at Carlos Correa, that's getting right straight to Xander Bogaerts. And you start to play these games where you try to spin it, whatever PR-wise, something gets out that you're clearly invested in the other, it gets sticky. But yeah,
also,
go ahead.
I just don't think that they're that fucking suave. They would
have taken Xander if the price was substantially lower than Correa.
They wanted,
that was the whole point.
Exactly. They wanted Bogarts at their price. They wanted to get him similar to JD, but it was their way or no way. And I think at the end we saw, I can't remember who framed it this way, but when they explained how these negotiations were going to go, it was at the end of the day, the Red Sox and Bogarts are going to be there. The Red Sox are going to take 2 steps towards him, and they're going to expect Bogarts to take 10 steps towards them. The Red Sox will inch a little, but they're going to expect Bogarts to give in. You can't give in when when someone's telling you instead of hitting free agency at 36, someone's going to take care of you until you're 41 in San Diego with an organization that looks like they're about to compete and do their thing. Oh, by the way, here's another $120 million on top of it.
I just don't think that I don't trust them to be that suave to
I
take
agree.
that
They haven't
path
earned
to
that.
get
They haven't
Correa.
earned that at
And
all.
even if they are, like, it's pretty shitty that you are kind of like spitting in the face of a guy like Xander over the course of like a year.
I mean, I guess what's shittier, if they had signed Correa and Xander was still a free agent, I think that would be worse.
Yeah, but at least it shows like conviction. At least it shows that they went and got their guy and didn't fall back on a plan B.
Yeah,
Like it makes it a lot easier to trust. It makes it a lot easier to trust anything that comes out of their mouth when they're talking about the signing in the direction that they're going in, rather than like if they sign Correa now, I'm going to second guess everything that comes out of their mouth in terms of like their intentions. And like, even if they do say that, like, they can't say that he was the guy now because they already said that Xander was the guy. So it's
basically like it's
going to look like they fell ass backwards into Correa.
You don't have the balls to break up with your girlfriend, so you just like are super distant and whatever because you wait for her to break up with you so that you can be with the person that you really want to be with. Like that would be the equivalent if the Red Sox go out and sign Carlos Correa right now, which I'm not saying they shouldn't do. I would be very happy if they did that right now. But that was the question I was going to ask to you guys earlier. Is there a way the Red Sox can salvage their offseason without signing Carlos Correa? Does signing Carlos Correa have to be a part of that?
Unless you fucking maneuver and MacGyver a blockbuster trade that nobody sees coming. And I don't even know who the fuck it would be for.
Like, the problem with everything that doesn't include a shortstop, or even does include a shortstop outside of signing Correa, is like, let's say this isn't going to happen. Let's say they trade for Ohtani. Your first reaction is like, man, would I love this lineup with Xander in it? If they trade for a shortstop, it's like, man, I would have rather used those prospects on someone else, and we could have just signed Xander. So that's where you kind of have to sign Correa in order to justify the next move after that. Like, if they go and get Sean Murphy right now, you're like, okay. If you have Xander and you get Sean Murphy, you're like, all right, now I see the vision. Now we're building something here. But anything short of getting a Correa, even Swanson really doesn't cut it. Like, if they had went and got Colton Wong, and Colton Wong's our second baseman right now, and then they go and get Sean Murphy, you're like, this team fucking stinks. This is just the Brewers. We've built the Brewers. This is no good.
We've built the Brewers.
The Brewers with worse pitching. Like, this stinks. Why would I want this team? So yeah, no, you have to go get Correa. And I swear to God, no one in that front office, not a single person, they can't leak it to anybody. They can't bring up the luxury tax ever again. They cannot. They have to spend as recklessly as everyone else. I saw something earlier. No team, I think this century, has won, or two teams this century have won a World Series without being top 10 in payroll. And it was like the fucking Royals, who do not count. I can't remember the other one because I'm too angry to read at the moment. But like, and the Red Sox are not in the top 10 right now. Obviously, the Mets are one. They just they're signing people as we talk right now. So yeah, they have to go get Correa, and then they have to have another equally strong offseason next offseason. And where I do push back on, do they have a plan? Can anyone name another Japanese player who was posted and signed the same day?
Within 45 minutes of being posted?
Ever. That's never happened.
And I do think that signing, it's interesting. So Scott Boras was his agent. So, some people are playing around with
it. He wasn't like the agent. He just negotiated.
He was
like
piecing
the translator. I don't know what the fuck he did there.
It's a weird kind of framing of it. But then people, some are, floating the theory, well, as the Bogarts thing kind of fell apart that night, where they kind of realized, oh shit, this isn't going to we're not going to get it done. Did they look at Yoshida and say, hey, we can ink this deal? At least it'll be something. People can't say we didn't do anything. It'll kind of hit the headlines now. If they're that stupid and they believe that, God help them. I would be very worried. But then you start to look at it and say, man, the things coming out today about the overpays, like they are getting killed. And I think the Red Sox are an easy target right now. I wouldn't jump off a bridge like some people are. I think it's a little bit of kicking Heim and the front office when they're down. But you have Kylie McDaniels putting out 10 sources told him today that, the Red Sox are idiots for what they did. Law is over at The Athletic basically saying the same thing. It's like, listen, if they believe in this guy and they think he's worth that, take a shot. You can't bitch when they don't spend money. Like, people are going to say, all right, the Red Sox are cheap and not willing to go after it. Well, if they view this guy and they think he can be a batting title contender, something along those lines, all right, well, they're going to spend.
But before Xander signed anywhere, everything I read nationally was glowing about this guy. So I put zero stock into anything that came out today. You had former major league players talking about him. You had current major league players talking about him. Like, he just won gold for Japan in the Olympics. He beat Tristan Casas, and he won the Japanese title. Like, the Japanese league is no slouch. Like, this isn't Hideo Nomo coming over. Like, it's much better than what this. He's going up against a lot of former major leaguers and taking them deep.
And we were watching the video. Who was one of the guys he took deep? It was Tanaka.
Yeah.
Like, he's showing he can hit these guys. And if the comp is right, Luis Ariz, okay. Like, if he's that guy, then he will be worth that money. If he's getting on base at a great clip, if he's hitting 300 every single season, like, it just be like a very high end, like Nori Aoki, like from, back in Milwaukee, a guy who was getting on base and hitting for a high average. When you talk about the Red Sox leadoff hitters over the last, 3 or 4 years, it's been pathetic. It's been sickening, especially last year. Kike was up and down in 2021. I don't want to completely destroy him, but since the Mookie trade and everything, you have not had that guy. And how many times last year did we bitch about guys in this lineup striking out on 3 pitches in a fucking rally? Excuse me. Go ahead.
Coley?
Jared.
I got this DM.
I was going to say Schwarber was the only other leadoff guy, and he would be sick to have, but continue.
Exactly.
Got this DM about an hour and a half ago. I pitched against Yoshida and watched him play this year. He has an incredibly great eye. Bat to ball is great. Has some good power as well. I didn't see him struggle much at all. He's not your typical Japanese baseball player. I hope he pans out for y'all. This is from a former big leaguer that has played against him and I guess seen him.
Like
play.
I said, everything that's come out since Xander, I do not put much stock into because it's so easy to kick someone when they're an easy target. Like in any area of life, people like doing this. And right now it's easy to shit on Heim. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to get shit on, but like some people, it feels like they've been waiting for this and they've got it teed up. And no one was angrier about the Mookie trade than me. And it was like people defended it. It was insane.
Like last night when that broke, who did you see any reporter tweet out like, whoa, this is an overpay? I didn't see anything like that last night. Last night when it broke.
When it happened.
No, everyone was like, this is outside of the Red Sox. Like John Morosi was like, oh, this is a fantastic move. Like, this is the kind of guy, all right, here come the Red Sox. Like, they're making some moves. People are going down in whatever way they can. But when the Red Sox are fulfilling a need, and I think this is a little bit making up for... Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you who the Red Sox are right now. Do you know what comparison I'm gonna draw?
What?
I'm gonna tell you right now. There's a perfect comparison for what the Red Sox are at this exact moment.
All right.
Coley, do you have any guesses of where I'm going with this?
I think you're going to Golden, Colorado.
No, not yet. Kind of close though, I guess. It is cold where I'm going. But the Red Sox right now, even when they don't deserve to get hate and get beat up and made fun of, they're still getting beat up and they're still getting hate. And it's almost like it's just fun to do. It's like it's the thing to do right now.
I'm through with standing in line. The clubs will never
The Red Sox are Nickelback, man.
bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win
I'm
this.
telling you right now.
Hasn't turned out quite the way I wanted to.
You want to tell me that that's not a perfect comparison?
A brand new house on
This is a great song. This is a great band from Canada.
And a king size
Cold there too.
big enough for 10 plus me.
You want to tell me that
I'll need a credit card.
Nickelback doesn't put out bangers? Of course they do.
Check with a bedroom.
They put out
99
banger
restaurant
after banger
soundtrack.
after banger.
37
The Red Sox win championship after championship after championship.
bus full of old
And they're getting hate right now. They're getting a lot of hate. It's cool right now. It's popular. It's in. It's hip to hate on the Red Sox right now. Just like everyone did with Nickelback.
It's more deserved for the Red Sox.
What'd you say?
It's more deserved for the Red Sox.
Yeah. What was the last time the Red Sox like really knocked it out of the park? No pun intended.
The Schwarber trade.
Yeah, 2021.
Schwarber trade.
Yeah, 2021 for sure.
No, but I'm talking about like a singular move, like a singular.
Like a
Deal.
transaction?
Coley's
Yes.
right. It's Schwarber.
I mean, it's still
I
Schwarber,
know,
yeah.
I know me and Tyler can name the prospect that was traded for Kyle
Yeah.
Schwarber. Can anyone else? Here?
Exactly. Aldo Ramirez's elbow is legit friggin' hoof meat. The minute he got over there, and he has been completely gone ever since.
Like that was the whole thing. After if you reversed the last 2 years of both the Phillies and the Red Sox, would people around here even be mentioning Dombrowski? No. He had the exact same last 2 years as we've had. He also lost to Houston in 6. He just got to play in the NL, so he did it in the World Series. So people think that matters more. We also lost to Houston in 6. Like, it's not crazy different. He acquired Kyle Schwarber. We acquired Kyle Schwarber. Like, yeah, he did it for longer, and he had an inside track when he hired his fucking hitting coach and best friend. But it's like, I can't, like, until the other shortstops off the market, I refuse to be like furious. Until the offseason's over, I know the winter meetings ended. I refuse to be furious. Like, I'm trying to be measured here. And I agree. They do not earn the trust that they're going to figure this out. I just don't like when I hear they have no plan, and I hear rival GMs being like, "Oh, look at those idiots." It's like, yeah, every team that spent more than them has lost more than them. By a lot. The Padres have never won anything. Literally, never. They never will, probably. Like, I have no faith that they just had a chance. They didn't do it. Like, there's no reason for me to believe in these teams. There's no reason for me to believe in the Mets. There's no reason for me to believe in the Yankees, who still haven't done anything. Right now, they've brought back the same team, plus a reliever they used to have. Like, they haven't done anything. We can still upgrade. Like, this isn't over. They can't talk about the fucking luxury tax. They can't talk about international pool money. Like, that was the reason they traded Mookie Betts. These are all bad reasons to do things. If they keep doing that right now with people as mad as they are, yeah, I'll be right in the front. Right in the front. No problem. Right now, I'm focused on Trevor Story and hating him.
But
My biggest thing is just like, and this has continuously been this way for like much of the past year and a half. It just feels like a rudderless ship. It feels like they have no idea where they're going, and they don't have like a clear sense of direction. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but like there's very little evidence to suggest that they know where they're steering the ship.
The only ship I can see them steering towards is a ship right now. Only one other organization is really capable of getting, based on, I guess, 2, because I can't count out the Mets. I do think they're going for Ohtani based on everything they've done. I can't imagine why they wouldn't.
Who?
And if they get Sangha, huh?
The Red Sox?
Yeah.
You think
He's gonna be a
the
free
Red
agent now.
Sox are going for Shohei Ohtani?
They've gone for Shohei Ohtani. They've literally done it before.
Yeah. But that was when he was like, I don't want to make money yet. So that was literally where he was like, yeah, I want to make league minimum for a little bit and really earn it. Now
Sure.
he's going to cost like $500 fucking million.
ton of money. Yeah, I don't think it's like the best idea, but it's right now. If I were to guess what path they're going down, that would be the guess. The other reason Ohtani didn't want to play in Boston was because a little farther away from Japan than the West Coast is.
See, can I just talk about that for a second? When
I'm very excited to see where this
inform
goes.
us on this, Jared, please.
When fucking like you get these players from Japan who come from Japan to Major League Baseball, and now they live in the United States of America, and everyone's like, well, they're probably going to sign in Seattle or California because it's closer to Japan. How many of these fucking players are just going home to Japan on the weekends? Like, you live here for the year. It doesn't matter where geographically in the United States you are. If you're from Japan and then you come play Major League Baseball, who cares? It's not like, oh, I have a long distance relationship. Like, I'm in Boston, but like I kind of go to New York sometimes to see this girl on the weekends. It's like, it's not like that. You're from Japan. In the off season, you can just go to Japan, but you're not going there in your spare time. Oh, the Angels have an off day, so Shohei Ohtani went back to Japan today, and he'll be back tomorrow. Who fucking cares how close you are to Japan when you're playing in the majors? That makes no sense at all.
I wonder if it has more to do with like family and shit. Like,
no, who cares?
Other people coming over.
You ever see Shohei's dad? Never.
Big fan.
Shohei's dad doesn't actually exist.
Papa Ohtani.
No. This is from Suspetta's Family Barbecue. The Red Sox have signed the third most players out of the NBP in all of MLB. The Mets are first. Seattle and the Dodgers both have 6. Yoshi made it 5 for the Red Sox. So if they get Sangha as well, they will have the second most in Japanese pro baseball history. That to me seems like a decent pitch to Shohei if that is the plan. Like I said, I'm guessing based off the only moves they've made. I don't think they're like, you know what, we've got Chris Martin, let's get the rest of Coldplay. Like, I don't think that's the plan. It might be the plan. I don't think it is. Jolie Rodriguez is cool. We got Kenley. It's
pronounced Jolie's.
We've got a closer that's projected for a team that's projected to win like 31 games. So that's good.
Got to make sure you win those 31.
Yeah, no, you gotta lock them down.
Lock those 31 down.
So outside of like, if you get Correa, you give Devers his money, then yeah, like what else really makes sense? Because unless Yoshi's going to play DH, that is still a hole that's yet to be filled. And they didn't get Josh Bell. So or fucking Jose Abreu or Anthony Rizzo, who must feel like such an idiot. How much more money could have Rizzo gotten?
Yeah, he came back right away.
Tyler Anderson, who was the fucking first pitcher to sign?
Tyler Anderson's dude. Tyler Anderson and James Paxton. Dude, Scott Boras fucked James Paxton. Like, I don't know what Scott Boras feels about James Paxton, but for him to let him pick up that $4 million player option, holy shit. Disrespectful. Crazy. Beyond disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
Boras probably just told Paxton to sign the first contract that he saw because he was going to disintegrate into dust and he was not going to get any money.
I would also just, if I were James Paxton, I would feel bad that I took, however, what did we pay him this year? Like $8 million to just rehab?
It was like
$12 million. I would be like, all right, like I kind of owe you one. That's how I would feel because I'm honorable. But
I would have thought that about the fucking Padres. Where was our collusion? The Yankees cried to the Mets, please don't try and pay our player. Please, Steve Cohen. Where was our collusion? Why didn't we send out a memo? The Yankees weren't fined for that. Nothing happened. You can clearly collude. Baseball loves collusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, also like the fact that they publicly admitted collusion was kind of hilarious. Like, I'm not going to
go
after
there was
my friend's player. What?
Yeah, there was absolutely no punishment for it. They're like, come on, cut it out, guys.
Come on, we're just pals.
At this point, you can't punish Steve Cohen. I'm sorry. With the money he's spending, he is Major League Baseball. He's fucking spending $325 million. Like, you're going to tell that man, oh, sorry, we're about to punish you? Go fuck yourself. There's no fine you can give them.
Punish the Yankees for being cowards.
That's it. I would, maybe. Hal Steinbrenner.
Like the Dodgers are going to go after Shohei. They've made that quite clear by the fact that they haven't done, like, they're going to stink this year. That's why you
get under the luxury tax this year.
They're going to regress and win 99 games.
I don't know, man. They fucking stink. Have you seen their lineup? Their lineup is bad.
It doesn't matter. They're the Dodgers. They just like, all right, yeah, well, we're going to throw out a couple of slapdicks and win 101 games.
I don't know, man.
You don't think even last they won 111 games, and I was looking at the roster being like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not like holy shit. Like I would look at the Padres roster and be like, wow, this team's legit.
The Padres were like 500 until they got Soto. And even then, they didn't like really turn it on until the playoffs.
And Soto didn't do dick.
He did more than Bell.
Yeah, he did. That's not saying much.
What was the quote from Heim like a month or two ago? He's like, we are going to be significantly better. That was the quote, yeah.
I thought you meant from last night.
Strongest beam we have here. That was his quote.
No, from like a month or two ago when he said something and we talked about it on the show where he was like, we're going to be significantly better next year. Or something like that.
He told that to Kike.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And Kike kind of like shared it out of class. Like, damn it, I trusted him.
I mean, we talked about that off the air, right? We didn't talk about the Julian article on the air.
No, no, a little we did.
Yeah, we touched on it.
I think we referenced it, but I mean, can someone please do a dramatic reading from that? Tyler, are you a good reader?
I've learned to read recently. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, we talked about that on the show.
I don't think we did. I think it was before we came on.
No, we did. I know.
Jake?
I don't think we like broke it down. I think we just
we didn't break it down. We talked about it though.
Well, we're gonna
about how the front office is shell shocked.
Yeah.
Well, like about like Heim just staring off into space after Xander Bogaerts signed with the Padres.
No, I mean we didn't really like go into it, but you did mention that like there's a shell shock element.
Okay, I have it up.
Yes. Okay, please, as you were.
Okay. Roughly 45 minutes before Bloom's red-eye flight took off for Boston, capping a winter meetings that seemed to conclude with optimism for Bloom and the Sox. News broke that Xander Bogaerts, the kid from Aruba who warms the souls of Boston faithful for 10 years, had agreed to an 11-year, $280 million contract to play in the city Bloom was departing. All Bloom could do was stare. The group of 8 or so Red Sox executives and front office staff, including assistant GM Mike Rootman, slouched in the Sky Club's blue leather chairs, scrolling through the phones. Bloom, the Sox leader, stood wearing a light green zip-up fleece, along with blue pants and dark brown shoes. Appearing out of sorts, trying to wrap his mind around the idea that Bogarts would be a Padre, Bloom needed time to gather his thoughts. The Red Sox knew a deal with the Padres was likely, that their 6-year, $160 million offer was no match for the Padres. A team that has shown a willingness to pay or overpay stars over the years. Give me a minute, Bloom said. The minute turned into 2. Then a brief walk to Gate 37A, where Delta Flight 1108 began to board. Give me a minute, Bloom repeated, staring into space in isolation, no longer peering at his phone. How could he patch this one together? How could Bloom make sense of this loss so soon after it happened? As inexplicable as it seemed at the time, the Mookie Betts trade was a move Bloom could defend. Bloom was adamant about testing the free agent market. He wanted to get his fair market value and was unapologetic about it. The Red Sox were well over the luxury tax too. But Bogarts was different. The Red Sox were under the luxury tax. They had money to spend. And at every turn, Bogarts said he wanted to remain with the Red Sox. The homegrown shortstop who exceeded expectations never wanted to leave until he was left with no choice. Hopefully we figure something out, Bogarts said at his locker on the last day of the 2022 season. Roughly 30 minutes before takeoff, Bloom had stared enough. Everyone is sad that he's not going to be a part of the organization, Bloom said. We're incredibly grateful for him, for everything he's accomplished here, and what he helped this organization accomplish. Bloom's voice trembled. The Red Sox plan to achieve long-term sustainability has taken its lumps under Bloom, with the club finishing last in the American League East in 2 of the last 3 seasons. The Red Sox have now seen 2 cornerstone players exit over the last 4 off-seasons.
Don't really know why it was necessary to describe what Chaim Bloom was wearing.
The whole thing.
His blue pants. His blue pants. You could see his throbbing member start to shrink when he looked at his phone and he saw Xander Bogaerts was going to the beach.
Remember.
Even the last paragraph, it details him getting on the flight, and it's describing his body.
Like fan fiction.
It's what it sounds like, and it's like, dude, he's sitting there, he's worked his ass off, and they probably haven't slept for 3 days. It is the craziest time of the off season for them. I'm sure he's not beaming off the wall after he missed out on what they considered their top target.
Dude, if I was Chaim Bloom and I woke up and I read that the next morning and it was some fucking baseball writer doing fan fiction and just staring at me while I found out that I wasn't signing Xander Bogaerts, I would immediately send him a text message and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you perverts? Why are you fucking staring longingly and taking notes about what I was wearing and my facial expressions, fucking weirdo?
Even the ending. This is Bloom, despite the clammy feel on the plane, still wore his fleece. His mind was in Boston, where it could be a cold winter. We're talking about baseball here.
This dude is going for a Pulitzer about Xander going to San Diego.
Xander going to San Diego was barely mentioned in that article. It was barely.
Wait, who wrote that?
Julian McWilliams.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the man.
Good dude.
Not a real name.
I thought it was good. I like
very
when
dramatic.
I like being able to read something and then you can just see it in your mind. That's the mark of a great writer, in my opinion. He paints a great picture. Actually, speaking of B writers, I sent a message to Chad Jennings.
Whoa.
Nothing.
Okay, now I'll put this out, Jared. I know you were recording.
He's also not an active Twitter user. But anyways, what are you going to say?
While you were recording Baseball is Dead, I actually spoke with Catillo.
That fucking that piece of shit.
I did.
I was going to call him fat, but that's mean.
Well, I know during this time where you're not probably in the best state of mind, we're all kind of concerned for where you're at. His dad is absolutely torching him on Twitter tonight, ratioing him. He's getting ratioed by his own father on Twitter.
His dad is?
Yes, it's really embarrassing, actually.
Well, his dad called him fat for all the ice cream.
Yep. And he's just toasting him, telling him, hey, we don't actually read your articles. We don't love you. We just click on them so you get the page view. Just being 100% honest. And then, he took it a little far. He started recommending people to listen to Fenway Rundown, and I didn't want to do that, so I told him.
He took it a little far, but being like, hey, you should listen to my shitty podcast.
I just told him to stay by the phone tonight. I was like, just keep the phone next to you in case you're needed, because I don't think this time around, if you play around and you don't answer, it won't be good for you.
It
won't be good for anyone.
Good for him. I don't even know. I after the last 24 hours, the last person I want to talk to is Catillo.
What about who's the fuck face that ran away to Houston that eats breakfast?
Drellick.
Yeah.
You say the one that eats breakfast?
That's what he does.
The one that eats breakfast.
That fuckface who eats breakfast.
We called him at 2:30. Was it the last time we called him?
Yes.
We called him. It was 2:30, and he goes, "Hey, I'm at breakfast," and he just hung up. It was
2:30 a.m. or p.m.
p.m.
Yeah, that's psychotic.
Right. So he's the breakfast. It's draft day. He's a pancake eating fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who else am I like? I almost thought of Julian to be the Red Sox reporter of the podcast.
That's the fucking guy we just read?
Yeah. You'd like him if you met him. You really would.
Does he talk like that?
No, not at all.
All right.
I think
Nice
you'd
to
like
meet
him
you,
a lot.
Coley. I really love that plush sweater you got going on and those throbbing corduroy jeans.
I think you'd like him. I'll introduce you.
What's his Twitter handle?
That's a Tyler question.
Yep,
don't know
I
how to
got
spell
you.
his name. I don't care anymore.
Well, I'm trying to. By Julian
You'd like
Mack.
By Julian.
I think he used to cover the A's.
Yeah. He played minor league ball, right? Am I tripping?
That's true. I don't know that.
He doesn't follow me, so I don't like him.
Well, if he's coming from the Oakland market, it's a little different.
You're saying I don't have any pull in the Oakland market?
No, but I'm saying I need a fucking blue moon right now. Baseball season's over. You can still feel that ballpark nostalgia with Blue Moon. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. Blue Moon is one of a kind of beer experience. It isn't just for baseball season. It's also perfect for holiday season. Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, iconic orange slice ritual, and authentic ballpark roots will make your holidays unique and flavorful. Pete, if I were to ask you right now, who's one Red Sox reporter that you would love to share a Blue Moon with?
Do you count?
No.
All right. Jen McCaffrey.
Jen McCaffrey. Come on down and get your Blue Moon. Pete Blackburn. Do you think... no, she wouldn't do this, right? No? I don't know. Do you know her well, Pete?
Yeah.
Do you think that she would do this? I feel like she would only do it if you were here.
Do what?
Be the beat reporter for the podcast. Like, replace Catillo. He's fired.
Yeah, I think she would.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk. We've got a list of contenders. It's Julian. It's Jen. It's Chad. Even though he didn't answer my DM, which is very upsetting. I like Chad.
Playing hard to
a
get.
lot. Well, don't. That's not how you. That's a miss. Don't fumble the bag. That's a big miss. From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Best served with a signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all holiday season long. Enter for a chance to win an exclusive Blue Moon paper shoot camera to immortalize those unforgettable holiday moments. Make your holidays brighter than ever with Blue Moon. Get Blue Moon delivered and enter to win an exclusive paper shoot camera at get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of 50 USDC. 21 plus only. Begins 11/1/2022 and ends 12/31/2022. Includes 4 entry periods. For rules, visit bluemoonholiday.com. Void where prohibited. Message and data rates may apply.
Suck one.
And suck one.
Who would sign Correa based on the landscape of the league right now?
That's the question.
The Dodgers won't.
The Giants.
Yankees won't.
The Giants,
have
the
never
Cardinals,
signed
the
anyone.
Cardinals.
I don't
So
think they'd
I
give that
still
contract
think
out.
Huh?
I don't think the Cardinals would give that contract out, especially after Wilson Contreras.
Do you think they would trade for Trevor Story?
No.
Jared, can you text Nolan Arenado and tell him to beg Mozeliak, however the fuck you say his name, to trade for his pal back?
Yeah. Yes. Technically, I do have that capability.
Yes, I think you should.
Okay.
I'll take Lars Nootbaar. He's got a funny name. I'll take him back.
He's got a
Newt Bar.
Yeah.
big newt.
Yeah, he sounds like one of the camp counselors at fucking the Fat Camp. What was that movie? Heavyweights?
The heavyweights,
Lars
yeah.
Nootbaar.
That sounds like a fucking something that you would order in Europe. When
Yeah.
you're trying to get a candy bar. Lars Newt Bar, please.
That's their protein bar. That's their Nutri-Grain.
Yeah.
So yeah, that story for Big Newt.
Big Newt.
And then we get Correa. And now we have a bunch of money because Story's not here.
You want to get rid of Trevor Story after 1 year? That's your thing?
If it's going to hinder us from making moves that actually for like good baseball players, yeah.
But why does it need to? Like, it shouldn't have to. Like, you're the boss in Red Sox with the money you're spending. You should be able to keep him in second.
You should have been able to keep Mookie in right. And Xander at short. Like, of course, these shouldn't be hindrances. They obviously are.
And I think now, though, if you really want to go and they want to use their excuse, let's flip their words on them, where they said, and I believe it was on Section 10, right? Heim said, hey, like, we did the Mookie deal so that with Xander and Devers, we wouldn't have to do it. Well, here we are, December 8th, 2022, and that is not reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And you should not have to be like finagling and maneuvering around contracts and players to like put together a winning team after you just won 78 games last season.
Agreed entirely. Like, I don't disagree. I tweeted, it was like August. I was like, re-signing Devers and Bogarts and then making a lot of smaller moves is one of the best offseasons we could have. And if you go pull that tweet up, it's people disagreeing left and right. Like, you cannot do this. This is a terrible idea. Like, injuries, it's kind of early last year Celtics when people were overreacting and saying you had to trade Jalen and Jason. Like, no, they were just the most injured team since COVID became a thing. They had led the league in COVID and then other injuries on top of it. That was the Red Sox this year. They spent more dollars for the IL than anyone in baseball. So it was like, yeah, do you have to do other stuff too? Of course you do. Bringing back the core guys was super important. They already fucked that up.
Yeah, and like that's the thing with me. People act like it's 2012 or 2015 where you're picking 7th in the draft now, or coming off 2014 where we're talking Trey Ball and fucking Andrew Benintendi. Dude, you won 78 games. You play in the best division in baseball, so it looks worse. You were right there. You were basically 500. Like you were you had the 14th worst record in baseball. You needed to get better. If you go and say, all right, you're healthy and you improve the team a little bit, there's no reason you're not there at least fighting for the wild card. No reason whatsoever. And you were, ahead of the wild card before the injuries ultimately poured completely on you. Like that's the reality of the situation. They were trending up, and then they got completely collapsed on because they couldn't stay healthy. When Tanner Houck moved into that closer role and solidified everything was rocking. And then Whitlock down, Nate Eovaldi down. You have a series where Strom and Story die in the same game. Chris Sale the next week, finger snaps off on a comebacker. Like, trust me, there were issues. There's no doubt about that. But all that stuff going down, Devers never getting right after hurting his hamstring. It's a lot of stuff that went wrong for you. A lot of stuff after a year in 2021 where a lot of things went right. That's baseball.
Devers was on pace for like 39 to 43 home runs early in the season. He finished in the mid-20s. Like, clearly there's something was wrong. Like, that's just not what was supposed to happen. It was a cursed year. Like, it happens. But to make things worse, how it is right now, you either keep going way down that path, and if you sell Devers, there's no reason to keep Story there either. Like, Story was supposed to be the piece where it's like, oh man, this guy's hitting 6th or 7th. That's sick. Right now, he's like your second best player. That's a problem.
I was terrified. Like, I was writing the lineup before I came on, and I'm like, Yoshida 1, let's say Devers 2, and I'm like, 3 or 4, you really don't have anything. And it's like, after that was Trevor Story hitting 5th, Verdugo 6th, Casas 7th, Hernandez 8th, McGuire 9th. Like, yeah, I'm going to puke in my freaking mouth.
Is extremely anonymous, like even in New England.
Yeah,
it's just not going to do it.
It's the lineup is like anonymous.
Yeah, that's what I was just spacing out thinking about that. Where, what did I see today? It's like, oh, the Red Sox still have $40 million to spend before they hit the luxury tax threshold. I'm like, how the fuck? Who's even on the team? Like, I was thinking of like winter weekend. I was like, who the fuck is going to be there? Who is still on this team? And even when you look at like guys, like it's like, all right, who? I was thinking about like popularity wise, it's like Verdugo probably is the guy now that has like the most followers on the team. He's making what, like $7 million?
Yeah,
like,
he's right in that Benintendi arbitration.
Is he going to be there?
Yeah.
Coley, I'm right there with you. It's like, okay, well, you got Yoshida. I think he's basically Andrew Benintendi. Like, they're hoping he's like a former Andrew Benintendi this past year. That's what you were hoping Alex Verdugo was going to become, didn't you? Like a guy who can work counts, hit for high average. He's not the defender Verdugo is, but are they going to play Alex Verdugo in right field for 162 games next year?
They can't. And that's like the most of the research that I've turned up on Yoshida was this guy can't fucking field. Like, he's a really good hitter, but you're gonna have to stick him in left and hope for the best. That sounds like a disaster.
Of his game at DH last year.
He sounds like their DH. Yeah, everything. Like, he sounds like their DH and also to spell an outfielder and patchwork. That's what it sounds like.
He's Japanese lefty JD Martinez.
Yeah.
Without the power. Well, actually, that's JD.
So last year, JD Martinez.
He's also 5'8". We love that.
Super short.
Fuck you, I'm 5'6".
Super short.
That was my Zolak.
Nailed it.
Damn.
Also, I feel like we have to give props to Carlos Correa for playing his hand incredibly well with just being like, yeah, I'll fucking play for the goddamn Minnesota Twins for a year so that I can make $300 million next year. What an absolute play by that guy.
Didn't he still get 30 this year? What did he get this year?
35.3.
35?
Outrageous.
The Twins gave him like $399 or something, wasn't it?
I thought it was like 270 or something. Was that what it was? That was like a 2-year deal.
Yeah, so this past season he made 35.1.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I think it was a 3-year deal that had opt-outs after both years.
Every year. Yeah.
What's his market? What is his market right now?
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like the Dodgers have removed themselves, but that doesn't mean they won't do it. But they like the only blessing we have with Carlos Correa is that so many people fucking hate him. They blame him for the entire incident, which is insane. Yeah. It's truly insane. The Yankees will not touch him. The Dodgers will not touch him. The Giants have never signed anyone ever. Who else is in? It's the Twins. Are the Twins going to do it again? I'd love be my guest. The White Sox are incompetent. The Mets have Lindor. I just don't like are the Padres going to do it? Are they going to put him in fucking center? They might. They fucking might.
I will say the one thing that worried me a little bit. So before we start recording, Brandon Nimmo back to the Mets. I thought it looked like he was a giant. Like that was going to be the kind of guy they kind of poured into. Well, now he's back to New York. So if the Giants are going to make a signing, a big one, and like Coley says, they fumble the bag every fucking time. But Correa would be that guy.
They got Mitch Haniger. They're good.
Well, they need another outfielder out there. They're fucking horrendous out there.
Yeah,
the Giants are really the only team that I've seen named as like they jumped to the top of the Carlos Correa market. Like, who the fuck did they leapfrog? Who else is there?
Right. If the Cardinals aren't going to do it,
the Cubs. But that's the Dansby angle as well.
Right.
Yeah. Jake, book Scott Boras. I got questions. I want to know, like, realistically speaking, because I happen to agree with Coley. I don't think that the Dodgers are out. It's just, especially after hearing Andrew Friedman talk at the winter meetings, being like, we're not necessarily hunting players for certain positions. We're kind of just looking for the best players available, and then we'll fit the puzzle pieces wherever we can.
And the longer it goes, the more those teams start. It's A-Rod and the Yankees again. The longer that went, they were like, yeah, why don't we trade for this fucking guy? Like, this is the longer it plays out, the Dodgers are like, hey, we could actually sign him and Shohei. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. Yeah, let's go get him. Like,
yeah, there's no rule that says we can't have both guys.
There's no reason to wait. Like, the Red Sox need to be crazy aggressive and crazy soon. Like, I'm still holding out hope we see it before this podcast ends.
But like, and you look at it, the relationship with Cora. Like, if you want to make Cora's probably hurting a little bit right now. Like he lost his shortstop, the guy he loves in Xander Bogaerts. All right, we'll go get the shortstop he had before he had Xander when he was, bench coach over there.
Cora's got to be fucking pissed, man.
Of course,
he's got to be pissed. Because he's the one who has
okay.
to sit in front of the media every single fucking night and talk about how he just watched his team suck ass while ownership hasn't been seen from in fucking a handful of years.
He only
Alex
begged
Cora-
after every game.
Alex Cora is in an impossible position right now because we talked about having too many cooks in the kitchen. That was a theme this year. Cora having some say in like the front office, being like, yeah, give me, or at least during the Dombrowski years. Like, I know that would be like, hey, I want this guy. And then Sugar Daddy Dave would go out and get what AC wanted. But now it's like, obviously Alex is very close with a lot of his players. That's just who he is as a manager. He's a player's manager. I think the fact that he's bilingual, the fact that he was sort of like a utility guy, so he's played every day. He's played multiple positions. He can relate to a lot of different walks of life that come through the clubhouse doors at Fenway Park. So he's tight with the players, but then he's also got some pull in the front office. And when you don't have all the pull, you don't have the final say. It's not your wallet that's dishing out $280 million to sign Xander Bogaerts or whatever, $350 to get Carlos Correa. That's a frustrating position to be in, where it's like, I can give you input and I want to keep these guys. I want to win. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I came back here. I had other options. I could have gone to another organization and managed there. Maybe they were greener pastures elsewhere, but I wanted to be here in Boston. And I did not want to be part of a rebuild. That's going to be a frustrating position, because if there were a Venn diagram, it would be players, front office, and then the overlap of those two circles is Alex Cora. And he's just on an island by himself in hell, being like, get me some goddamn players that can help me win this year. I'm not even asking for a slam dunk World Series team. Like there are elite super teams in Major League Baseball right now. I don't think the Red Sox in one offseason, even if they do sign Carlos Correa, are going to join that class. They still kind of have a long way to go before we're like, all right, we're back. World Series or bust year. I don't think that they're not an offseason away from that, but you can make a pretty gigantic leap from where you were, which is last place, to a team that maybe fans will be excited about seeing them take the field. Maybe. But it's going to cost you $350 million. So, good luck on that.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the path to a salvageable offseason starts with Correa right at the top. You go get Heim, as recently as this week, said we were getting 7 to 9 new players. My tally has us at 4. 3 of them are relievers. One of them's a DH/left fielder who's never played in the MLB before. And I don't want to keep saying that like I'm down on him. I'm higher on the risk when we have an all-star shortstop. That's where I'm higher on the risk. I do think he's going to be solid. Right now, he's our biggest bat that we've got, and he's just literally never played pro baseball before. So that's where it's a little shaky. You get Correa, I'm right back in on Yoshida. You have to go get Rodon or Sangha. And I've heard a lot of people, until the Red Sox sign him, we'll hear Kodai Senga is actually terrible. As of this moment, I've heard a lot of people who have him above Rodon, just in terms of pure arm talent. They think he's the best pitcher available right now. And if the plan is Shohei next year, and it's like, listen, we're just trying to make this feel a little bit more like home than typical Boston does, then I see that vision too. But if it's not one of those two pitchers, then Correa, it makes it a lot harder. I think Sean Murphy, especially after the Cardinals did go get Wilson Contreras, I think that's where cash and chips in over Brian Reynolds. I do think Brian Reynolds, from everything I've read, is going to cost more than Murphy. And I think Murphy affects the game more. And then I think you have to call the Marlins, because the Marlins are as dumb as they come. And the Marlins where you get Pablo Lopez and something else. If they want to trade someone better than Pablo Lopez, you accept, but I don't think they will. I don't think they're that dumb.
Heyman has.
I do like that you're like, they signed Yoshida. Has not played in MLB, so trash. But They signed Kodai Sangha. We're back in business, baby.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
not like a trash thing. It's just like it's like I think it's a fair concern.
It's coming from a place of anger. This guy's
Definitely.
never played in Major League Baseball.
It's-
Kodai Sangha, we're on the right track.
I'm high. I was high on both of them because I also thought we'd have a shortstop. Now it's just like
It's fair.
he's our best player. Like that's that happened quickly. That happened very quickly.
The market
Yeah.
for Sangha right now, per John Heyman, that fuck. Mets, Giants, Red Sox, Cubs, Padres, Rangers. And he prefers, which I like, to sign in a big market. So I guess take out the Rangers and the Padres, maybe?
And he wants to win now, right? Wasn't that the other big part of it?
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Which,
Totally been told that.
yeah, you're not well suited. But if you go get Carlos Correa, maybe you can fake it a little bit.
And he's gonna like travel and visit cities first too, right?
Oh, so this is what's kind of concerned me. He's already traveled to a few different teams. Like I believe the Padres, the Mets. He hasn't come to Boston. They're interested though. Like I keep seeing the report, but he, at least according to Spear, had not been to Boston yet. And there wasn't some kind of like, oh, he's coming. It's just it hasn't happened.
Right.
But I will say when everything was breaking the other night and we were talking about Yoshida, the Japanese papers reported that the Red Sox were very heavy into Sangha.
Right.
So
Yeah, I love stats.
hey, dude, he is. I don't know how he
grinds
translates it.
More Japanese newspapers than anyone should. Last year during the Seiya stuff, he was like, I don't know if it's real, but Yahoo Japan has announced that Seiya Suzuki has signed with the Red Sox. Like no one's more in the weeds than stats. He's the best. He's truly the best.
He's just thumbing through the Japan Times trying to get some
Like
scoops.
I picture Stats wakes up in the morning and he has a stack of 40 daily newspapers from every corner of the world. Like he's
It's
like
like-
Antarctica Times. Like let me check who's the new prospect there.
It's like one of those fucking like newsstands at a gas station where they have all of the like that's his fucking kitchen. He gets his coffee and he's got going around the world with the newspapers. Just filing through every single day for like getting nothing for 95 straight days, but on that 96th day, just fucking like throwing his pancakes against the wall and sprinting to his computer to translate.
He has so many Duolingo accounts. He's just learning so many languages just so he can find out like some Red Sox news in different pockets of the world. He's the best. But yeah, at this offseason, because a lot of us were streaming it last season. Last season was the offseason to spend money, not just because of the luxury tax situation. There were simply better players available last offseason, and it really doesn't get better moving forward. It just doesn't. Like free agency is tough coming up, and it was tough this year, and it was great last year. Kevin Gausman's paying for minimum wage based on new money deals. And the Red Sox reportedly never even contacted him, never picked up the phone, weren't interested in the slightest. Maybe like what, one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball, conservatively?
Not only that, a pitcher who shoved it up your ass every single time you faced him this year and completely owned you. It wasn't just he was dominating, you were the one getting dominated by him regularly.
Right.
Like you let him go to the Blue Jays, a team that was desperate for that kind of arm. And now they have that kind of top of the rotation firepower that you definitely don't have, and you're praying to the heavens if you get Sangha, or maybe you get in on Rodon, that you can have something even comparable.
Gausman, Schwarber, and Iglesias. I did the math a lot during the season. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think in total, their contracts were $3 million more than Story's. So it's like, if we're spending money, like Pete was saying, can we spend it a little more wisely? Can we spend it on multiple impact players, not a guy who's kind of a luxury? I know we didn't have a second baseman for a long time. We could have got a center fielder, moved Kike to second. Like there were other options. We didn't have to do that. And there was no other market for him. Like he was going to go back to Colorado? Like there was no market there. So that was tough. It's tough.
Tough.
Now you have to get Correa or trade Devers. Like I don't really see any other way around it.
That's what I didn't want to get into was with those tweets that Stats was firing off.
He's right.
He's basically just like, if they don't pay Devers, then we're headed right towards a trade. And if they trade him, they might as well sell the team.
Because at that point, you're going straight into a rebuild. That's what you're doing. You're putting an end to whatever, Devers really should be your anchor of this core as you piece it together. And if you sell him off, you're just telling everybody, we are never going to hand out the kind of extension that, any of these big market teams do. We're just going to bring guys in. You'll play your rookie contract here. We'll turn to Brian Bayo and Tristan Casas. And if we can't get you extremely cheap, see you later. You'll play your 6 years and carry on.
Like big market franchise ownership should be like a presidential election. Like we should, as fans, be able to vote. Like we should be able to vote out John Henry if that's what happens. Whereas like we don't, like you're making all the decisions that we don't want. This is a democracy. We absolutely did not want you in power anymore. You're gone. We're going to vote for this guy who said he grew up a big Red Sox fan. He's a multi-billionaire and he wants to win a championship. He's got my vote. Like,
I mean,
the fact
the
that like we're
logic
just
there is trusting other people not to be fucking idiots. Like,
I guess, but
of course,
at this point, you would choose the alternative just based on change. You'd be like, yeah, like, we just need
for
something
sure.
different.
But the ownership would change like every 2 years.
I also don't think fans would. I don't think they're as mad at him as they are at Heim. And I said this when we hired.
Well, that's just misguided anger.
I was
all that
worried
is.
he was brought in exactly for this, just to be a
No,
fall.
I don't. No, I'm going to give fans more credit than that. Like, I think that fans are starting to see that like ownership is not fully invested in this team. And like that's part of the reason that Heim was brought in, I would guess, is that they recognize that he does things and finds success at a lower price point, and they would like to pay less money.
Well, it's not working. It's not working.
It's certainly not working.
Whatever the David Price contracts, Chris Sale, one of those contracts scarred Pablo, potentially scarred them. And whatever it is that caused this PTSD or whatever it is, they are terrified to walk down that lane. And they shouldn't be. They should know more than that, but that's what it feels like. And they're just like, yeah, we're not doing that again. But you go and you say, hey, David Price won you a World Series, didn't he? He showed the fuck up in the playoffs. Sometimes you have to take these contracts. They're not going to work perfect for you. You got to weigh them out. You got to take your shots with them. You're going to miss and you're going to hit sometimes. And sometimes you're going to win a World Series because of it.
Mm-hmm.
This sucks.
How about Athletic Greens? Huh? Speaking of starting my morning, the fucking Xander Bogaerts news breaks at like midnight. I just start to like drift off to sleep at like 2:30, and then my phone starts ringing. It's fucking Steve. I'm like, dude, I gotta be up at 7:45. But we just have this little chat about Xander. It's like I heard from so many people last night that you wouldn't normally hear from, where it was like a funeral, but you can still talk to the dead guy if you want to. It's like, yeah, you show up, everyone's sad, but you're checking on everyone. Hey man, what's up? That sucks, man, right? Yeah. Anyway, how's the family? How's everyone doing? Yeah. Like it was big time virtual funeral vibes last night. Just reconnecting with people you haven't talked to in a little bit, all just bonding over how shitty we all felt that Xander Bogaerts eye-opening tweet, I forget who had it, that because he has a full no trade clause, if he plays out the full duration of his contract, he will be a Padre for longer than he ever was a Boston Red Sox. That's crazy. Same thing with Mookie.
Fisk.
Yeah.
Like Mookie Betts will be a Dodger for longer than he was ever with the Red Sox. Which is fine. Like, I guess like with Mookie, it's like that makes a little bit more sense, I guess. But with Xander, because he also signed an extension here. He will be with the Padres for longer than he was ever with the Red Sox. That shit ain't right.
It is. I mean, it's funny that he just like has been with the Red Sox since he was fucking a teenager.
16.
A teenager. And signed a contract with the Padres when he was 30 years old.
When
is set up to be on one team longer.
When are we gonna Dombrowski gets so much fucking credit around here? He was the one who gave Xander this short ass deal. Where was the 13-year deal then? Where was the 11-year deal then?
Or if you just didn't want to get such a good deal on it, which we all knew at the time was a steal. Well, if you raised that AAV and you didn't have to put an opt-out in it. Could have at least got 3 more years here.
Yeah, he should have put some AG1 in it, is what he should have done. Because our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. Or every morning, I should say. I started taking AG1 back in June because I wanted to get better gut health and more energy. Been on it for a few months now. It's the best I've ever felt. So what is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. We're doing podcasts all the time. We're shooting videos. Me and Jake got meetings. We're all over the place. It's tiring. Waking up, taking my AG1 gives me the energy that I need to perform all these tasks every single day, 7 days a week. Be on my A game every day. It's got all my vitamins and minerals that I need in one easy scoop serving. And now that it's the off season, honestly, I feel like I'm busier now than I was. It's crazy. It's been a crazy couple months. Very busy. But I'm on the go. So that's why I rock with the to-go packs for the early wake-up calls on the road. Costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Supports better sleep quality and recovery. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Red Sox. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Red Sox to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Tyler?
So I was just checking Heyman's timeline to see if he uploaded it. And basically like 3 hours ago, he threw up the latest on Carlos Correa in his market. So apparently the Twins have kind of lost confidence after the Bogarts deal that they're going to get Correa there. Understandably, they are a poverty franchise.
Why? What happened?
The Giants are the one team, a rival said they have to do something. The Cubs, they're now kind of leaning towards Swanson because apparently his wife, Mallory Pugh, she plays for the Chicago Red Stars soccer club and he'll be cheaper. So that's where they're kind of leaning. It makes more sense for them. And then here comes the Red Sox. The Red Sox are said to have offered $28 million for 6 years for Bogarts, and maybe a little higher had they been within striking distance of the Padres, so that they could make the money right for Swanson. Though it shouldn't be ruled out that Boston will enter the Correa sweepstakes. There's no clear indication they have yet, but manager Alex Cora does love Correa from their days together in Houston.
Yeah, he does.
12 years, 320. Just get it done.
There's only so many options there.
12 for 320.
You should have an inside track.
I would be very interested to see like what the narrative becomes if they end up giving Correa like it's not going to be a super similar deal. Like can't imagine.
I think fans will understand. They'll be mad about spring training. They will be mad about spring training. It never should have gotten to where it got to, but we're here, and the Padres made a ridiculous offer that no one wanted to match. Okay, fine. So you fucked up. We're mad at you for fucking up, but that doesn't mean don't make it right now. Learn your
that's
fucking
not what
lesson.
I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, what's the narrative if the contracts are similar?
The Red Sox got a steal. People don't like. I think me and Tyler dealt with this more. people did not love Xander Bogaerts as much as they do today, as the last 10 years. Like he made 4 All-Star teams. It's a fucking fan vote. We have one of the biggest fan bases in sports, let alone the sport. That was always a joke. He did not get the respect he deserved from the fans, let alone the front office. So yeah, there were people before he signed that were like, just go get Correa. Like I saw multiple people before he signed an 11-year, $280 million deal saying 5/150 was going to age like the Anthony Rendon contract. Previously the worst contract in baseball. Then he got 11/280. Those people must have all died simultaneously. They could not believe that deal. So yeah, if you can get Correa for similar money, maybe a year more, maybe $40 million more, I think most people would be like, what a coup.
I think even this year, like it felt like if you were paying attention, and maybe it's because a lot of people just kind of tuned out over the course of the year, but once Bogarts like stopped hitting homers, people were like, he fucking sucks. They're like, I don't want to watch this dude. And he's legit about to win the batting title, like in September.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Like people
were like, Xander, down year, he sucks. He's like, oh, he's literally leading the American league in batting average.
Like the dude finished 9th in MVP voting in the AL with a 131 OPS plus. Like, go fuck yourself. Seriously, stop acting like he's some poverty shortstop.
He was like, I'm hurt. Home runs are hard, so I guess I'm just gonna lead the league in average. Just get on base a bunch.
And that's a guy like. Playing hurt, he's always been willing to do it. And has it hurt his number sometimes? Yes. But he's been willing to be out there. And I like Carlos Correa. He's a guy who has missed time. He's been healthy the last 2 years. But over his career, he's missed time. It just means so much when the leader of your team's on the field constantly. Where do you think Rafael Devers got that from? Playing this whole year. Legit hobbling to first base in the second half. It was hard to watch Devers run. Like, we felt pain. Who do you think sets the tone for that kind of stuff?
Right, and Correa will change like the makeup of the team for sure.
They need an edge.
I'm saying will like he's guaranteed. Certainly not. But it would definitely be a different type of Red Sox. But even I said it last week when I was on here. No one hates Carlos Correa more than Yankees fans.
Mm-hmm.
No one.
He told you those Derek Jeter Gold Gloves, they mean shit. No one gives a fuck about them. Like he lets you know. And listen, for Heim, if you want to get Heim hard, he likes nerd stats. He likes weighted runs created plus. He talks about that shit all the time. He's like, I don't give a fuck about my batting average. He's like, go check the WRC plus. That's, he is the new age kind of guy. And I think he's a dickhead in the best way possible. Like sometimes you need someone like that. And I think that's an edge. Maybe over this past year, it's very different than Bogarts. But Devers is such like a fun loving kid. And I love that for him. But you kind of need that guy who has a little fuck you in him. And he has that. He shows up and he's from his generation is arguably the best postseason performer. His numbers are ridiculous in October.
It's literally what the Braves did last year with swapping out Freeman for Matt Olson. There's precedent for it. Now they did it before Freeman signed elsewhere. And then they painted him as a racist dickhead on the way out of town. I don't know how we're going to swing that with Xander. I don't know if people are going to buy that one. But
Red Sox are so mad they can't slander him.
They're going to resurface. They're going to resurface the Xander tweet.
Yeah,
the tweet and be like, we had to get rid of this.
Yeah, Tyler. I mean,
let me put my hand up.
Toxic culture.
I am a loser. I'm a fuck up. I'm a loser. I'm an idiot. I'll take my lap. I did run a lap when Jared texted me that. I can't believe I fell for that.
Oh, yeah, you fucking idiot. You know what? Credit to you for bringing it up because I honestly forgot that happened. He fucking quote tweeted the Xander Bogaerts Twitter account that this is why Twitter Blue sucks. And you contribute to the problem by paying for Twitter Blue, you fuck. But Twitter Blue, like, the fact that you can just pay for a blue check mark and it looks exactly like any other verified account, like real important people, not like fucking Steve and Tyler. I don't mean the lead singer of Aerosmith.
I was named after
that did come out like Steve and Tyler.
Yeah, it did. I literally just paused. I was like, wait a second. That's like you have an account that can literally just claim that there's Xander Bogaerts and then there's a blue check next to it. But you also, Tyler has to know.
I do know.
Xander Bogaerts does not have a Twitter account. No, you have to know that Xander does not have a Twitter account. He will never have a Twitter account.
A reason.
He went out.
Let me put my hand up.
And he'll never come back.
The worst part is we were having this conversation with Coley. Like it was probably a couple months ago, but we had this legit. We brought it up and we started talking about it again. While I'm at work, because like 10 to 2, I am working as a producer. I am trying to do everything. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a rough week on Twitter for me. I had a couple bad fuck ups. So let me own up.
Didn't Shaughnessy come for you last night?
I'll hit that one too. I wasn't even gonna get there. First off,
it'd be so funny if Xander came back to Twitter and uploaded that same photo of the girl in her underwear, but in the background there's just a ton of money.
Yeah, just tweets
so
W. W.
It'd be so funny.
Okay. First off, I apologize to Coley. I don't know what I edited one tweet and it pissed everybody off. I did it twice, 2 different tweets.
You what?
So I typed something out.
You can edit tweets
for 30 minutes after you post it. And I'm always worried what I'm going to say is going to get misconstrued. So I'll add a couple words to clarify it. And for some reason, every time someone would refresh, my tweet just popped right back at the top.
It's every edited tweet. Yours was just the one that I'd meant to say something, but it's not just you. Anyone who edits a tweet, that's what happens on Twitter. They pin it to the top of your timeline. So every time you refresh it, there it is again. And there's no way to fix it. You just got to wait it out.
So I'm done. I'm done editing tweets. So that's my first L. I'll own that one. My second L, when Kenley Jansen got signed, I typed out the tweet while I'm cutting audio and I'm trying to listen to the show. And I post the game where he walked the bases loaded in the game-winning run as the announcement for when he signed with the Red Sox. People are
incredible.
Why the fuck did you post this clip with? And I'm posting his stats, led the NL in saves last year.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenley Jansen. It's if you were hold on. So
that's right.
Answer this honestly. Honestly. You hear the Red Sox, who had it? Passan?
Yeah.
Passan breaks Kenley Jansen to the Boston Red Sox. We haven't even fucking mentioned that. This is the first time we've talked about it, right?
Yeah, we didn't get deep into it.
No. I said we were going to win 31 games and we were going to fucking nail them all down because of big Kenley.
Yeah. Kenley gets 2 years for what, 32?
Yeah.
Yep. And you just type Kenley Jansen into your Twitter search, see a video. Don't look to see if this ball ends up in the fucking seats. This could be a fucking 500-foot home run. You're just so excited about Kenley Jansen that you're I gotta get this tweet off. And lo and behold, he walks in the game-winning run.
Well, okay, so I typed in Kenley Jansen strikeout. I was much smarter than that. I was a strikeout.
Okay, so you
has
put
to pop
strikeout.
out. But whatever the tweet was clowning him for not striking the guy out.
Really wish Kenley Jansen got a strikeout here.
And I posted it and I just start seeing the tweets what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm oh no. And then I have
at least there was no cum in this one, Tyler. Good job.
Zoe's screaming in my ear. I got Tom Morgan, the producer, the executive producer of the show. He's pull some stuff up, get ready to talk about it. And I was all right, whatever. And I'm trying to multitask. I'm obviously excited. It was an emotional day as it was. And I took the L on that. It wasn't my finest moment, but I deleted the tweet instead of editing it because of Coley. I didn't want to upset Coley any more than I already had. So I just reposted it and we move forward. But if you scroll down on that tweet, there are people who are saw the first one, you idiot. Which
Tyler has a closer's mentality. He'll give up a walk-off tank and then just get back out there the next night and just be all right, give me the ball, Skip.
I do respect.
I don't give a fuck. I know I'm going to take L's. And then Shaughnessy, dude. Dan Shaughnessy, I earned it a little bit, but it's out of context. He definitely ratioed me. I got bodied, but it's all the old ass people, the boomers. Dunk on me, whatever.
You're putting together an incredible lineup of just bad tweets.
This is 3 days. This isn't even my whole week. 72 hours.
He's here's what I got going on Facebook. I'm getting murdered over there.
Okay, so I was on air doing the baseball hot stove show, and Yoshida signs, and I think Bogarts is coming. I start talking my shit. I'm where's Dan Shaughnessy?
Does he still work with the station?
No, when I was an intern on Zolak and Bertrand, he used to come in and like, he never said a word to me, but I shit on all his takes when I was in the back room with the guys. But me and him, he's quote tweeted. We've gone back and forth a couple times because, I'm on the Bloom side and we just beef. He's on the opposite. But he always says the Red Sox don't hand out anything but 1-year deals. And that's what I've been quote tweeting him and ratioing him over recently. So that's what it was referring to, because Yoshida, it's a long-term deal. We're not talking 1 year. We're not talking 2 years here. This is a legit contract. And with Kenley Jansen as well, I was like, oh, where are you? But people took it like, oh, Himes fucking dunking on everyone. And then it like, after I was asleep, obviously, he's like, oh, this tweet aged like milk or something. And here I am.
I think it's hilarious that you were asleep when Bogarts signed.
Traumatic. It was very funny.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So it was not funny.
Did you text into the Pat's intervention thread, or did you text into the scoop shop?
I think
when you first woke up.
I think it was the scoop shop.
It was. Sure. I can confirm. You should be asking me because I'm the one who would fucking know. I'm only in one of them. Did not get a Tyler text.
Okay, so at 4:39 a.m. in the scoop shop, 4:39 a.m. Tyler is oblivious to the fact that Xander Bogaerts is gone. Like, he has signed with the Padres while Tyler is in dreamland, and hit the first text says, "Oh my fudging jig god." Does not spell fucking correct. He says, "Oh my fudging god. Why the fuck didn't someone Why the fuck didn't someone kill me in my sleep? Please let this be a nightmare. I'm fucking begging. God, this is really hell on earth."
We really should have gotten into like the where were you when you found out Xander signed earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
I just knew what I was walking. Like, you got to realize what I'm walking into the next day at the sports hub. Like, people are texting me like, man, good fucking luck, dude. Like, this is going to be the worst day of your life. And I'm just like, all right, well, like, I'm shit talking Adam Jones as I'm leaving the station. I'm like, give it a couple hours. Watch, take your L's, get ready. We were talking about it on air. And then I just am an embarrassment. I'm an absolute loser.
Why the fuck didn't someone kill me in my sleep?
I was ready to go, man. Like, you could have ended my life and I would have never had to experience any of this. But instead, you let me live through it.
The Bruins played that night, right, Pete?
Yeah, they did.
And they won.
They won.
Yeah. And I think was Xander at the Celtics game because it was in Phoenix.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah. He was.
So he told some kid like an hour before the actual news broke. Some kid, like, if to be believed, some kid was like, "Are you re-signing with the Red Sox?" And he was just like, "No." And the kid tweeted it with a picture of Xander.
Yeah.
So like, that kid broke the story.
Well, I'm glad I didn't see that. The Celtics won in such hilarious fashion. I didn't even watch the fourth quarter. I showered. I came out of the shower. The clock hit 0 on the score. I opened my phone and I just saw the Heyman tweet. And I was like, I can't even enjoy dusting the best team in the Western Conference. I have 0 seconds to gloat about this. This is the worst. This is the worst. I had like
a similar. I turned the Bruins onto my second screen after the second period just because I was like, they're gonna win this game. It's not even entertaining. And they were playing the Colorado Avalanche, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. I put on a movie because I was like, this will be more entertaining. And then as I'm like halfway through the movie, I had to fucking pause it because all the texts were coming through. And I was like, well, now I can't fucking enjoy the rest of this goddamn production. And I didn't finish the movie until like 3 a.m. because I was X. Jared, I feel like you'd love X.
Yeah. I haven't given it a shot yet.
It's very good.
I've watched the trailer.
It's very good. Have you seen Pearl?
No, I haven't.
Pearl is the prequel to X. And they both came
Oh.
out this year, which is very weird.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Good movies.
I've heard good things about Pearl.
I liked X better than Pearl, but seeing X made me appreciate Pearl more.
Well,
Let's go Red Sox! Let's go Red Sox! Let's go Red Sox!
Go Red Sox.
mm-hmm.
I can't
Jake,
believe I
you
had to
haven't
take
said anything
fucking
yet. This
paintballs for
whole
this
fucking
team.
podcast. I want where are you at right now? I know I was with you earlier. We walked into our meeting with DraftKings, and everyone's like, you guys look really tired. You guys like what's going on? You guys look stressed out. That's what someone said. They're like, you guys look stressed out. What's going on? And Jake was like, you look at your phone at all today?
Yeah,
Like you just
the amount of people
internet?
that walked up to us and said like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's just like, "How's it going?" Like, have you
Yeah.
gone on the internet at all? Like, it's literally the worst day ever.
Yeah,
If we
we
didn't have that
walked
meeting-
into this boardroom, and everyone just looked at us like you know how I don't even know what the comparison would be. Just like something.
It's like on September 12th, The Office being like, so how was your day?
Yeah, like it's just like you know that something horrible happened to this person, and everyone else is in a good mood, but it's like like we kind of have to like cater to this person that we know is like sad. It's like it brings down the mood. Everyone just like looked at me and Jake, and they were like, "Hey guys, like how's it going?" It was a sad day.
And it was
It was
our
a bad
end of the
day.
year meeting too. So it was like, they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, that kind of sucks. All right, we're going to move on to everything that happened this year." And we're still like, well, we can't really move on that quick.
Jake beat the shit out of 3 executives.
Yeah. Yeah. It was terrible. How you feeling right now, Jake?
Not great. I mean, it's it's a really helpless feeling, like when you know that ownership is so not on your side. Like you're just looking at the
Yeah.
Mets giving everybody money. The Padres are just begging people to take money from them. And then we're just like, yeah, 6-160. It's just like, fuck, like where do we even go from here?
Mm-hmm.
It honestly kind of feels like they hate us.
Ownership?
Like, yeah, it honestly does feel like ownership hates us. Because they won't answer to anything.
No.
They're just like, here's what you get. Fucking eat it up.
Yeah.
And we're not taking any responsibility.
We're like in a prison cell. And
Hope you like Zach Brown Band 6 times a summer.
They're sliding that sloppy ass prison food under the door. We don't have a say in what we want to eat. It's just like, oh, here's some more slop. There you go. We're keeping you alive. You may hate what you're eating, but go fuck yourself. That's what it feels like right now. Unless they sign Carlos Correa, then we're all right.
That's even just.
But I'm
still
not
a
even
step.
gonna get my hopes
Like,
up.
that gets us back to where we were. Like there still needs to be more steps after that.
Multiple legit moves.
Well, then there's no money left.
That's not Jared.
If they're gonna go get
There's
Carlos
always
Correa,
money. There's always money.
get over the damn luxury tax. You got no excuse.
Well, that's where
Money isn't real.
If you do, yeah, I agreed. If you do 12,320, like I said, what's that AAV? 28?
12, 320,
26. 6.
26.6.
So that's 13 and change before you're even hitting that. You need, like, that's where I think the trade market makes sense for Pablo Lopez, for Brandon Woodruff. I really do think targeting the A's, you don't just get Sean Murphy, you go get Laureano because they need a defensive outfielder. and he got his steroids out of his system, so he's ready to go. And he'd be our best defensive outfielder. Kike is really good in the outfield, but he's also only here for one more year.
Ramon Laureano fell off.
If that would feel
he comes
like
back
a... Yeah, he wasn't very good, though. That'd be like feels like a poor man's version of the Cody Bellinger experiment a little bit.
Well,
right?
Yeah, you might as well call up Rafael at that point.
You're not targeting him. You're getting Murphy like Murphy's the prize. And Laureano is like, we just need someone who can play outfield.
I don't need another outfielder that can't mash. That's what I miss.
And I know, Coley, earlier you thought Reynolds was going to be more expensive than Murphy. I think Murphy's going to be more expensive than Reynolds. Like I saw
so good.
I saw today was Lars Nootbaar they wanted, Brandon Donovan, and then they wanted a pitcher, like a top 60 prospect in all of baseball pitcher that was about to get to the big leagues.
For Murphy?
Yeah.
Right. My thing is, once the Cardinals leave the picture, I don't know who, like the Guardians, sure. I don't know who else is like really in on that, whereas 10 to 15 teams are bidding up Reynolds.
Yeah. I do think it's good that the Yankees
get bad returns on their players, like famously. So I don't like, and I've heard they've wanted major league players back. That's already dumb. Like if that's what the A's are looking for, that's where it's like, all right, here's Verdugo, here's Duran, and here's Rafael and another like Mata or something. Get it done.
Yeah, that package might be. They want guys that are started that already broke in technically, but like you said, it's the A's. Like I don't know why they're sitting here acting like they're going to be competing anytime soon.
Right?
Like, who cares if they're in AA or AAA? Let them develop for a year or two and get up there. Mata will be up this year. Rafaela probably by the end of the year.
Right.
If you really want to point it out, I don't know. The Reynolds thing, there does seem like there's a lot of suitors there, but at the same time, the trade request I do think makes their life a little bit harder. I would check both, but it does feel like the Red Sox and Murphy, they just can't shake this whole catcher conversation. And I know they were talking with whoever Christian Vasquez's agent was at the winter meetings. They were talking about a couple different catchers. Pedro Severino, they were asking about. They're kind of into Mike Zunino. So they're looking for guys. Obviously, Murphy would be a different level, but I buy into the idea. I have a thing for nasty catchers. He was the second most valuable catcher in baseball behind Real Muto last year. A right catcher can completely transform a pitching staff and get you where you need to go. And I do feel like he's one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. You get that and a guy who can actually hit as well. Very few guys.
Since it's the Red Sox, and since we're talking about like the business part of it, how many Murphy t-shirt jerseys could they sell?
I was going to say, if like just from a look standpoint, if they got Trevor Story and Sean Murphy in back-to-back off seasons, you could definitely be like, okay, they have a fucking type here.
For sure.
It's just like dudes who look like they hang out in Southie and just fucking like do shady shit outside of Lincoln 4 nights a week.
And that's where I think you got to get Correa as that buffer. You get him first, then you go get Murphy. And if it's like, I still think Bayo is going to be a top. Like I've seen a lot of people slot him in as like the 4 or 5 starter this year. That's incorrect. He's right now their best pitcher, I'd argue.
I don't think that's a crazy take. And I think you start walking down that line. Devers, Correa, Story, Casas, Murphy.
Yeah.
That who match it. Now the outfield, let's not talk about it, but
I think you look at Profar. I think you might look at Drury. I think there's a lot of former Padres that are available. Will Myers, he's been linked to the Red Sox for about 15 years now.
I think Drury's one of those guys who could slot in the DH spot as well. Someone that they can filter in different places. And I was looking at his batted ball profile. It's along those Mitch Haniger, Hunter Renfroe kind of thing where everything he's hitting would be over the monster. So if they want to go that route, it would be cheap, but it would allow them to plug wherever.
That's to get to the 9. The 9 players Heim told us about. If that's the 7 to 9, because again, we're only at 4, so there's still 3 just to get there. I don't know. I'm very in on Correa. I'm very in on Murphy. I think there's a salvageable offseason to be had, but they have to do it. They can't just, they do nothing. Like what was any of this for?
That's the question. You traded Mookie Betts, the franchise player, perhaps the greatest homegrown Red Sox player of all time, to get under the luxury tax, to reset the luxury tax, to stop being penalized for going over the luxury tax, so you could reset the whole thing, so you could start spending again, because you could not spend on Mookie Betts. Or maybe you could. There were other ways, maybe, but this was the easiest way. This was the easiest way to get David Price's contract out of here, not have to pay Mookie Betts. Now you're under. It's like, breath of fresh air. Finally. It's like taking that antibiotic after getting chlamydia. You're like, it's gone. Now I can get back to raw dogging.
Super.
It's one of my favorite feelings.
Yep. So that's what Heim did. Traded Mookie Betts and David Price to get under the luxury tax so that he could get back to raw dogging. And the first guy that you would want to pay, I mean, it really doesn't matter the order. It matters now because one guy hit free agency first, but at the time it didn't really matter the order. Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers. You did not get under the luxury tax this year. When you could have, why not? Team sucked, wasn't going anywhere. You go over again. You do not trade Xander. You let him walk. You didn't pay him. And now Devers is the only one left.
It's like the
Mookie's gone.
definition of selling your car for gas money.
Yeah. Xander's gone. Mookie's gone. And now Devers is sitting here being like, why the fuck? Not only because of looking around at the roster, being like, why would I sign up to be here? Like, not only is the team suck right now, but they haven't shown any indication that they want to make this any better. And on top of that, I'm seeing what all these other guys are getting. So why would I take a deal to stay here knowing I can probably get way more if I don't stay here? So I know that, like I said earlier, Castillo, he had that stupid ass tweet about, I think that the whole Xander Devers connection is totally overblown and you can still keep Devers even though Xander's not here, his friend. Sure. But if Devers looks to Xander and is like, well, I liked playing with him. I'm sure he likes playing for Cora as well. I mean, there's other, I guess there's that element that's keeping him here as well. But watching Xander's process. Oh, hey, Coley. Watching Xander's process and seeing what's out there for him, what lies if he just plays. And that is my biggest fear. What we just did with Xander, having to see him mope around every day, knowing that he's stressing about his contract situation, knowing he wants to stay here, being asked about it every day. Hey, you gonna stay here? What's the deal with so and so? What's the deal with the contract? Like, that's exhausting. And he can't even be truthful. I'm sure he wanted to scream like, I want to fucking stay here. They won't give me what I'm fucking worth. Like, he can't just say that. I'm sure it probably killed him every day, being asked about it every day. What's the deal? What's the deal? You worry about the offseason? You worry about your contract? I want to stay here. They won't give me the money that I need to stay here. I'm not asking for an overpay. It would take an overpay for me to leave. Let's not get to that point. Got to that point. But if you're Devers, it's not that you want to leave because your best friend left. It's not like fucking Buzz and Woody. It's more along the lines of, why would I stay here with the direction this team is going? Why would I stay here? Why would I take less money? I'm not going to do that either. I just saw what happened with Xander. So I would say, if he is not paid by Valentine's Day, Devers, he's gone. That's just my mindset. He's gone. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing the will they, won't they. I'm not doing the whole, we'll see what they do in the offseason. They had a really bad season again, so they know that they've got to step it up. Like, this ownership knows that they can't afford to lose Devers. They know that. They don't give a fuck, dude. They don't give a fuck. if they lost Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts, what would indicate to you that they don't care about losing Devers either? What makes him so special? What makes him so more important than a Xander Bogaerts or a Mookie Betts? Mookie Betts, what you would say, is the most talented of the three. Xander is the guy that Devers looked up to. We're talking alpha male shit. So what makes Rafael Devers so special? Great player. Obviously, I would give him the money right now. No questions asked. Whatever the fuck, 300, 320, 350, whatever. We'll talk about it. But if he's not signed to an extension before pitchers and catchers report, it's over. He's either getting traded or he's walking in free agency. It just ain't happening. Like, the Red Sox will never learn from their mistakes. They will never. Like, how many times does it have to happen where you lowball someone going into their walk year? They go to free agency, they leave. They never fucking learn. And it's again, the ownership. People are millions of tweets. Fire Heim, fuck Heim. Heim should never show his face again. It's not Heim's checkbook. What's the one common denominator between all that shit? Mookie, Lester, all that shit. Carl Crawford. It's ownership. So that if he is not signed, the clock is ticking. You've got what, 2.5 months ish? Call it 2 months. You've got 2 months to sign Rafael Devers to an extension. If you don't, that says so much about where this team, this organization is headed for the next few years. It's a rebuild. It's Heim not being the guy, and it's the Red Sox selling the fucking team, hopefully, and pivoting to football and whatever other sports they want to.
And that's why, like, they made a competitive offer and he chose not to stay. Like, that's where that argument drives me up a fucking wall, because it's like, yeah, but you opened the door and you made the competitive offer too late when the person was already considering other options. And it's like, if you're going to make the competitive offer, make it earlier. And like, you can't say that you didn't know that this was going to happen, because you've been burned by it several times already.
And we already know the built-in excuse. Let's be real. The Red Sox have told Devers, at least on one occasion, going back to last offseason, we don't want to pay you like a third baseman. We know that is somewhat of a gap here. They tried to give him the Matt Olson contract. Like, that's what they wanted to frame him as. He made steps defensively at third base this year, and I believe he can play third base moving forward, because it's never been a range problem. It's just the routine stuff that he tends to struggle with. Do they continue to hold him on that? It's $80 million. That's the last thing we heard. That's the difference between both sides.
I heard it was they got to what, within 60 or 40.
Was that the Heyman had it at 80, right? And was it Marino that had it closer?
It was Pujols said it on an Instagram Live that it was either it was 60 or 40. So they're inching closer.
It's just now, does this offseason where these years are becoming the story, is that what makes the Red Sox freak out? Because that seemed to be the problem, according to June Lee last year, that Devers wanted more years and they didn't want to go that far. They didn't like going, the 10-year contract.
Off seasons like this, weeks like this, are how I'd know I would dominate GM.
Dominate.
It's such an easy job that gets made so much more difficult than it needs to be. You sign the good players, you ignore the bad ones. It's really that simple.
And you tell the good players that, hey, we think you're a good player and we want you. And you slide a piece of paper across the desk and you say, this is how bad we want you.
The negotiating part is what blows my mind the most. It's like, why even make an off? Be like, all right, what's your number? And then they say something and you go, okay. Like, I don't know why that doesn't happen way more often. That's what the Padres just did. It's what the Rangers appear to do. Like, it's not that hard. The Yankees made it harder than it needed to be with Judge. Like, they didn't make it that difficult.
And like, to your point, like, if you're the general manager of the Boston Red Sox, you should be able to be like, I might have overpaid this guy, but you know what? I got the player, and money isn't real, especially in this job. So I'm doing a pretty good job.
Crushing it. Absolutely dominating.
Yeah. It goes back to my point to like the Red Sox think they're going to get a fucking parade in the streets if they come in like $10 million below what we thought the contract was going to be. People are going to complain even if you do come in like $10 million below what you thought you were going to pay the player. You're never going to win. You are never going to win as a general manager unless you win a World Series. And you're not going to win a World Series by continuously letting your best players walk.
Like I know for a fact I'd have Mookie Betts on this team. Improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Big improvement.
Otani?
I'm not saying I'd have him here already. I'm not going to say that. That's insane. I would have.
I definitely would have kept the good players that were already here. That would probably be the first step.
Kyle Schwarber's been a free agent twice in the last 3 years. No qualifying offer. Carlos Rodon was a free agent. No qualifying offer. Like these are the easy decisions. These are not difficult decisions.
Gosman's definitely here.
And I like to think that, like, even if I did fuck up, I wouldn't continuously insult the fan base's intelligence by feeding them bullshit. Like, at the very least, that would be nice. Well, like, it'd be kind of sick if, like, tomorrow Heyman was like, all right, I'm doing a press conference. We fucked up. Like, we really wanted Xander, and we fucked up. Like, now we got to turn our attention elsewhere, and we got to rebound, but we fumbled it on this one. I'm sorry. Instead, they're going to be like, well, we made it competitive. Yeah, no, I don't want to blame Heyman. That's why I'm saying, like, we as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
But no, instead it'll be like, well, we got beat by a really big offer and we weren't willing to match. Fuck off.
It is pretty wild that a franchise player like Xander Bogaerts left and not one word came from John Henry. Not even like we appreciate, what you meant to this organization.
Sad to see him go.
Not a word. Like, it's like he just never existed. So, Xander, who's that? Like that's I think that's where you look at it and you're like, they don't even know what's going on. Like, do they even know who's on the team at this point?
I'm not willing to rule out that like John Henry is just frozen in a chamber somewhere and has been for like the last 4 years.
Break him out.
I walked past him in 21. He was
he breathing?
Horrifying.
At the playoff game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. He came. He has his seats. His seats are the ones that are right next to the Red Sox dugout there. I
feel like if anybody acts, the fact that he like goes to games and is in public ever is really ballsy, because I feel like if anybody walked into that guy, he would just die. Like if anybody like made contact with that guy, I just feel like he would explode. Good vibes.
I don't know. I wish we didn't even bring up Carlos Correa on this podcast.
Here's one thing I need you to understand, Jared. You have more control in this situation than I think you understand.
What do you mean?
You have a direct line to Carlos Correa's former assistant manager, who's currently the Red Sox manager. But you have a direct line to him. And I'm not saying it hasn't crossed Cora's mind. I am saying a little shove can get things rolling. Nolan Arenado, he can start demanding Trevor Story. These are things you can control.
These are things that I can control.
When are you going to start accepting responsibility for how this team looks?
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. It starts with me. It starts with me. I need to be better.
Yeah, when I said I wanted accountability, I was looking directly at your cam box. No, I really do hate that I've like over the course of the last like 3 hours, I've convinced myself that they're going to sign Correa. I hate it.
I honestly, like, I tweeted it, I think 2 or 3 hours ago, and I was just like, try to send some positivity, some creativity out there, because it just feels like it's not good when people are no longer throwing out ideas how to fix the team. Like they're just kind of like, all right, like here we are, which I don't blame them when there's 18 holes you got to fill. But yeah, talking tonight has made me feel a little more confident that there's a chance somehow that could happen.
I'm an ideas guy. I come to the table with ideas. What did I text the other day? I was like, let's go get Jazz Chisholm.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm an ideas guy. I come to the table with ideas.
Yeah, listen, they're not all going to be slam dunks. Jazz Chisholm would immediately make this team more watchable.
It's the only way I would
Facts.
allow Trevor Story to play shortstop.
Oh, no. Jazz is playing shortstop in this scenario.
Lead the way.
We're building the whole team out of Jazz Chisholm. You understand?
Yeah, I think we need to rebrand to the Jazz Chisholms.
We just take the Utah Jazz's name.
Yeah.
The Boston Jazz now.
The Boston Jazz. Yeah. There's too much negative energy connected to the Red Sox.
Is that what would make this offseason worse if they announced they were knocking down Fenway?
You can't. It's literally impossible, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's a national landmark.
If they said they were moving.
Yeah,
if they were moving to like Boxford.
I might actually kill myself.
Yeah, they're just moving to some fucking slapdick, random ass woodsy town in Massachusetts. Yeah, we're moving the Red Sox to Amherst. What?
Welcome to Veggie Ketchup Park in fucking Manchester, New Hampshire. Carver, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Home to the Veggie Ketchup Park. And your last place Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. Fucking Veggie Ketchup Park in Bar Harbor, Maine. Just hours from society.
Our starting right fielder is just like a naked homeless guy.
Constantly asking people in the stands for $20. Yeah.
It's like, dude, he's about to throw a pitch. Turn around. But he just has a cannon.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm not gonna catch that one, but I'll cut this guy down to second base if he tries to run on me.
Hunter Renfroe.
Yeah, it's basically Hunter Renfroe in a nutshell.
After every game, he just takes all the bubble gum and the sunflower seeds because that's his food.
That's his dinner.
The future is bright, fellas.
Let's go Red Sox.
We're just going to time trades for Trevor Bauer. It's like, what are we doing? Why?
He's like, we'll take on the full deal.
Yeah, we'll pay extra. We give him an extension.
Yeah, $40 million a year, done.
We're like, we've been watching the Browns recently. People seem to like.
Oh, Jesus.
It would be Trevor Bauer and Reese McGuire. That would be quite the battery.
Oh
that
my
would be
God.
quite the battery.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
It's good. Puig's available. He's a good guy.
Everybody gambles, right?
Wasn't he at the winter meetings?
He was.
The least of my concerns with Puig. People
Fair
forget
point.
when he left Major League Baseball is because he had an assault case open because he grabbed a woman at a Lakers game and threw her into the bathroom.
It's good. Yeah, he was like pitching himself at the winter meetings.
Him and who's the
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz was there taking like school photos, like with a suit on.
Someone was saying it was like a puppy adoption where they just got guys walking around smiling and taking pictures of them.
Crazy. All right, it's 12:15 in the morning. I haven't eaten dinner yet. It's been a long day, Jake. It's been a long day for everyone. I think Tyler, how many hours did you sleep?
Barely. I've been up since. Wait, today was today the day? Yeah, I can't believe I found out about Xander Bogaerts today. That feels like days ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I have no sense of time anymore. Wow.
We found out about 24 hours ago right now.
Yep.
It was the best sleep of my life before I woke up. I promise you that. I will never sleep that good again.
No.
When we wake up tomorrow, Carlos Correa will be on the Red Sox.
That's true. I can't go to sleep because what happens if Carlos Correa signs with the Red Sox? I don't sleep.
Watch. Suck it, Shaughnessy.
All right. Any final thoughts?
A Devers Correa left side of the infield would remind me of like Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrews, where just I would imagine that Devers would just constantly be pissing off Carlos Correa, and it would be great.
I'm not talking myself into it.
I'm already there.
Yeah, that's happening.
Pete already has Correa.
What's the alternative? It's Story Arroyo. That's our middle infield right now.
The other alternative is that we just die.
Kill ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Nothing in between.
Plug and play
Story-
second baseman.
Ref Snyder. Is Ref Snyder going to go back to second?
IKF.
You know who could play second? Mookie.
Jose Iglesias.
Mookie, famously.
That would be a power move for the Red Sox to act like, hey, we lost Xander, but we lost the guy who was supposed to be our shortstop of the future before him. We're just going to rock out with Jose Iglesias.
What a middle
Correa
infield
back
that
to
would have
second.
been. Xander and Mookie up the middle. All right. I'm going to go eat dinner and cry. I haven't had the chance to cry yet. I've been too busy. I talked to Xander today.
Remember when he hit that fucking home run off Garrett Cole in the playoffs? It was sick.
Yeah, that's sick.
And then threw with a Judge out at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to pay that guy.
Remember when they had like the best team of all time like 5 years ago and nobody on that team is around anymore?
No one.
I said it at the time. You could have just attached Benintendi to Price, and that would have solved the luxury tax problem. That literally would have solved the problem if you just traded for nothing in return.
Did you ever think Ryan Brazier was going to outsurvive Mookie and Xander? All these different guys, Benintendi, Ryan fucking Brazier.
Everyone's gone. Vasquez, Jackie.
The guy that they got back in the Mookie deal is now the second longest tenured player.
And they don't like him.
Technically third.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of him.
Poor Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes deserves a little love.
Yeah, Matt Barnes is here.
You talk about a contract that is ruining the offseason.
Vibes are so good right now.
What does Barnes get? Like legitimately like $17 million?
over 2 years, yeah. He's
I don't think
making
it's that
more.
much.
Actually, he is the first reliever after Chris Martin. He makes like 8-7. I think it's like 8-9 or something technically.
That's a good deal.
Suck on it.
What's even his role in the bullpen right now?
Enjoy the
Pitching.
7th inning.
The 4th inning guy?
Can you say pitcher?
Yeah.
That's good. At least he's an option. He's coming out of there. At least he's not like the bullpen catcher.
Come on. Let's get the vibes up.
Oh yeah, what's the walkout song?
The vibes, dude. Just vibe, Coley.
Henry in LA did
Coley, just vibe, dude.
in Atlanta did Walking
We're getting the vibes up, Coley.
Dead.
We're on hour number 3. The vibes came down for a second, but they're back, dude.
Yeah, they've been way up the rest of the time.
Yeah. No, I'd say the vibes were pretty. We had peaks and valleys over the course of the show.
What's the walkout song? Did you do Shipping Up to Boston? Because then we might go home 162.
What fucking what song?
For Kenley.
Oh yeah.
No, the dude from the Mets had the trumpets.
He should just steal it.
Kenley's gonna have like the drunk Titanic flute.
Just steal Papelbon's walkout.
Last year,
fucking steal it.
Last year was "Welcome to Atlanta" by Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah,
walkout.
like I don't know.
Am I missing that? Does he have like city specific walkout songs?
Well, he's only ever played 2 other places. He did California Love in LA.
Yeah, okay.
And he did Welcome to Atlanta with the Braves. So
You just come out and be like, oh shit, Kelly Jansen, bitch. Let's go. And then Jackie takes him fucking 480 to right. Tie game. 4-0 lead blown. Sox win the World Series in 5. That's your new closer, Kenley Jansen.
that's the team we've been like, you know what? We need their scraps. The team we steamrolled in the World Series. We need the players they don't like anymore.
If Andrew Friedman touched it, Heim wants it.
Yep. All right.
Shipping Up to Boston is the new closer song.
That's, I don't know. I'm kind of over that song. Maybe we need to write and record our own Boston song and then tell them to use that. Are you into that, Coley?
Sounds like a great idea.
All right. I'll get started on that after I eat dinner at 12:30 in the morning. After getting up at 7:45. All right. Thanks for fucking listening and watching whatever the fuck you guys do.
All the listeners are going to come to to listen to this for therapy, and they're going to walk away being like,
what's
what
wrong
the fuck?
Yeah. This guy needs
Why is
help.
my therapist 1,000 times more depressed than I am?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for.
Why do they keep suggesting that I kill myself?
Yeah.
There's no hope, and this sucks. Just end it all.
This episode
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
By someone, for sure. Like, you know what? I was catering, and this pushed me over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
The Reddit is going to be a dark place tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm ready for it. All right.
Thanks for whatever the fuck.
Thanks for whatever the fuck. We will see you next week. Bye.
Buenas noches, amigos.